Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the James Carr Podcast. I'm your host Raj, and with me is my co-host Spencer.
Hey everybody.
How you doing, Spencer?
I'm doing pretty good actually. It's been a long break.
About a month.
I've been settling into about 40 hours worth of work a week at my job. I'm moving up in seniority positions. Crazy actually how good things have been going at work, but super busy. Life's really busy right now.
So for those of us who don't follow us on Twitter, you have undoubtedly noticed an absence from us for more than a month, actually.
We're not dead.
The last episode we recorded on March 9th, and then now it's April 17th. 18th tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
And so it's been a long time, and the thing was, we had enough time for one podcast, but then we didn't have enough time for another, and basically it would have been like 1 week off, 1 week on, then maybe 2 weeks off, so we're just like, we'll just take the hiatus.
And it ended up into a huge vacation.
And which we needed, because I am now done school forever. I am finally done university.
Congratulations.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. It feels good to be in the done club.
Welcome to the done club.
Just you and me, actually.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
No, Ray gave up, tried to go to, we were talking about it yesterday. He's like, yeah, I tried to be a genius at Apple, and then it worked out.
Which
but
he
he's like,
succeeded,
that was the biggest mistake, he says. I don't really know why, but I guess it's because he's wasted time. But he's only comparing himself to me and you. We're only 22, turning 23. And it's like, we're done our degrees. So what? Some people take till 25. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, two of the guys I graduated with, one is 30, and the other is 28.
Yeah.
And they've been in school for a long time. Though one of them, this is his second degree. His first degree is in biology, so now he's a biology computer science guy. Interesting.
So we haven't done our marathon yet, and I don't know if that's actually going to happen due to life being busy.
It means a spring marathon.
Yeah, where we marathon every first episode of the season and, just enjoy it with each other. But I did manage to watch episode 1 of the Bones series that's coming out, which I can't pull the name, but oh my gosh, I'm excited for that series.
I haven't watched anything new. I've been too busy with school to even attempt to.
I mean, the past couple months, the past month, I've probably sat down and watched 2 episodes of anime. It's been that slow for me. And I've honestly enjoyed it. Like, having the freedom. What happened for me was when I was doing this podcast, when I do the podcast, I have these moments where I'm overwhelmed by the amount of anime that we're watching to a point where it's not enjoyable anymore. It's more of a job and a chore. And that's kind of not what I set out to do, but podcasts are podcasts. They will be what they are. I'm just glad people listen,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it is our, fourth annual or fourth?
This is number 3. Third time we're going to be doing this.
So this is our third JNB Awards.
Yeah.
Not AAs. The JNB AAs, but not the JNB AA Awards, because that would be a little weird.
Be a little redundant.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do because we missed months with anime. We're not going to do a full recap of what we missed.
We can't.
We're just going to talk about the endings pretty much and how I feel about them, what happened, yada, yada, yada.
What we dropped in the meantime, all that stuff.
And then we'll go into the actual awards at the end like we usually do.
The hiatus actually allowed me to take a step back and see what I actually wanted to see finished. And you'll find out it wasn't that many anime, to be honest. And I'll have my opinions on that later. So, you ready to go with number 1?
We haven't told any stories though.
Well,
we always tell stories.
There's a lot of stories. I guess let's go halfway through the list.
And take a break and talk about something.
We'll tell some stories.
All right. So what do you want to take the break? Log?
Yeah, right after log. We'll need a break after that.
Okay. Right. Excuse me. So starting with, as we usually do, Parasyte the Maxim. No episode title, no episode name from wherever we left off to now. So Parasyte had an interesting ending in which Migi died, which came out of absolutely nowhere, and he died at the beginning of an episode, so it wasn't even like a cliffhanger. And then suddenly we have to deal with Shinichi having lost and not knowing if he wants to live anymore.
And having no right arm, super difficult.
Having to eat with his other arm, and it's like, and he meets
meeting
his granny.
Like the random old lady, who just is the motivational mentor of his life.
Yeah. And like a badass, Shinichi decides, if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out like a man, and picks up like a rusty blade.
Like a hatchet.
Yeah, and he just sets off into the woods in the middle of the night.
To fight what he thinks is the big bad monster that he lost his arm to.
What's totally blanking
on his name. Oh, Rio, no. His name sounds like the name of the guy who was Samurai Flamenco's friend.
It's Goto.
It's
That actually worked. That helped me.
yeah. Okay, there we go. It's oh, this is like the old times when I used to do that. Okay, yeah.
Oh my god.
Samurai Flamenco. Wow.
Good anime. And it had a cameo in Durarara.
Yes, it did. It was on the title sequence. That's why I like Durarara for that.
Just the references to real life
Anyways, he
anime.
wanted to go fight Goto because this monster was chasing him and thus killing villagers. And he's like, you know what?
For food.
My life's pretty much almost over at this point. I've dropped out of high school. At least that's what he thought. I have no right arm. My friend's gone. People are dying. And Shinichi's like, well, screw it. So he
takes on Agon. Well, that's
Who's
a wrong
Agon?
anime. Agon is from I Shield 21. He takes on
He's the
Goto.
dreadlock guy?
Yeah, he is. He's the dreads. He takes on Goto and fails miserably. Stabs him once with a poisoned, I don't know. He's on a garbage pile, which I do like the callback to the garbage pile. It's like, they dumped it illegally for no reason. They only dumped it so you could kill him.
Yeah.
It's the only reason this exists.
So they stab him, and then there's chemicals on this rusty piece of metal that caused Goto's body to go in panic, which then in turn released Miggy to kind of do his thing. And there was this really cool moment. Yeah.
Yeah, when Migi's stub blocks Goto's blade, and then the real Migi like comes out of Goto.
Oh, that was so
and
cool.
rejoins. It was amazing.
That was really cool.
But when did Migi go inside Goto? That never happened. They never showed that.
No, they assumed that. Goto wouldn't let another parasite go by without consuming him into his body. He gets
Why?
more powerful.
Does he?
That's what
Where's
they
he
were
going to put him? Like a tail? He's out of
saying.
limbs.
Abdomen, I don't know. Somewhere.
He's run out of limbs.
Yeah, he has one limb.
What? Oh,
And Miggy's pretty good at that.
his dong? Yeah. Hey, shout out to Migi. Finally got to see what human sex was like. He's been wanting that since like episode 2.
Yeah, it's true.
Good job, buddy.
Good job, Shinichi.
Also, Shinichi, congrats on getting laid, bud.
Yeah.
Finally happened. Although I think we talked about that already.
Yeah, we did. That was a while ago.
Okay.
So now Miggy's back. They're now okay. So Parasyte the Maxim is just our love child, not our love child, but like a child that we love. Okay,
I know where you're going with this.
It grew up. It was fantastic when compared to Tokyo Ghoul. It was far superior. In every way, it was just so good. And then all of a sudden, it decided to just hate on every single tree hugger in the world. It wasn't a tree hugging anime. It was a burn the tree huggers to the ground anime. It was a very weird postmodernistic view on the world. It was a very weird moment.
Shinichi got very preachy for no reason whatsoever. And
Well,
then
of course, it's what the director wanted.
he's like, okay, this doesn't make much sense because he's like, it's not your fault, Goto. Like, you deserve to live. Sure, whatever. But here's the thing, right? All species have one directive at the forefront of their minds, and it is survival of your species, okay? Goto is the one predator who can destroy your species. Therefore, it's perfectly okay for you to kill him. From an evolutionary
But
standpoint.
what right does Shinichi have?
He has every right to protect his family, to protect his girlfriend, to protect himself.
It was just silly. Like,
made
it
no
got
sense.
really tumbly, and then all of a sudden he turns and goes, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you!" And Goto's dead.
And he's crying. It's like, chop, chop, chop.
Yeah, so then Goto's dead, and he walks away. So that was the end of, like, the second to last episode.
I think what I said to you was Shinichi is a monster killer, and that's all we ever want him to be.
Yeah.
We don't need him to be this, like, pseudo tree hugging, I care about the world kind of guy.
No, he doesn't. But he cares about the world because he doesn't care about the world.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, so anyways, in the last episode, we now get to see a slice of life. Apparently Shinichi's redoing high school, I think.
No, he's in college.
Oh, he is?
Or sorry, he's trying to get into
Oh,
college.
right, okay.
He failed his entrance exams.
So he failed, that's what it was. He failed his entrance exams. He's now a Ronin.
You know, that makes sense, though, because he didn't have time to study. He was busy
Yeah,
killing things.
Of course. And he's having really cute, what the heck
Moreno.
is his name? There you go. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah, I got this.
Good luck, guys. So, yeah, it's right there. So him and Morano are flirty, and then the glasses girl who just has no PTSD from almost dying. That was the most underdeveloped moment of this whole anime.
That's why she won Biggest Dumbass last season.
Because she's like, oh no, I killed her. Okay, I'm fine. It's like, you stupid. And then there's Freckles girl, which went nowhere. She was such a useless character.
She never had a chance.
She was like the rival for Morano, but she did nothing.
Kana was
She was
a
like
real
the
rival.
tertiary rival.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
that's so lame. Anyway, so they're all running off giddy, having fun at a museum or something. Then her and Morano are like, oh, the world, oh, blah, blah, blah.
Actually, Morano's not even talking about the world.
No.
Shinichi's just like, I figured it out. And then he figured out some bullshit that didn't even matter. And here's the thing. So in this scenario, Shinichi is 17 or 18 years old, right?
Yeah.
Nobody cares what a 17 or 18-year-old thinks about the world. We've been that age. We know.
Oh yeah, there's also the super emotional like Miggy says goodbye moment thing where like he has a dream and Miggy's like, I'm gonna go to sleep forever because I really like sleeping and
That actually makes a lot of sense though, because in Goto, Miggy said he was sleeping, but he still had a constant stream of information from Goto.
Yeah.
And Miggy values information more than pretty much anything else
Yeah.
other than survival. And so if he can do that with Shinichi, that means Shinichi will never be in danger. Because other parasites won't really be able to sense him because the signal will be really weak.
Yeah.
And that way, Miggy will never come out and then Shinichi will just have a normal hand.
Yeah.
And Miggy will still get the information that he wants.
It's a perfect situation. But, you know, there's also the sadness of a friend leaving.
Yeah.
So we go about, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, here's Killer Boy, who just wants to get one last jibe into Shinichi for whatever reason.
Because he knows Shinichi's a monster.
So he's like, I want to pull you out of being normal. So he goes upstairs, murders two lovers on a roof, then grabs Morano and goes, lo.
Pretty, awful way to go. You're about to bang and then someone stabs you in the neck.
And
Kinda
then
sucks.
Shinichi's like, no! And so he runs forward, and
Backhand fists the guy in the
he
mouth.
just destroys this guy, but Morano's falling, and he goes, no! And then there's a super dramatic moment where he's like, did I catch her? And then Miggy did something, like, stretched his hand
he stretched
out,
his arm.
so Miggy's aware now, or not aware? I don't know, but it's really cool.
Well, the way they set it up is that Miggy could wake up at any time if he wanted to.
Yeah.
He just doesn't.
And then he has a stream of information, it makes sense. So then they fall back, they laugh, it's over.
Yeah. They did mention that parasites now no longer eat humans. They've because they can survive on normal food, they eat that.
It was like the end of Pompoko. Remember when some raccoons transformed and lived with humans. Humans are really busy. How do you live this way? Pompoko.
What a terrible, terrible movie. So what I like about this ending is everything except for the speech. But what I specifically really like is that they've left it completely open for more. We could have a movie. No, we could have a movie. We could have another season because there could always be a parasite that decides I want to eat people, or a parasite that somehow combines with other parasites accidentally, or something like that. You know.
But I think the story's over because quite honestly, they can't do anything original now. They already introduced the most OP parasite that could probably be.
There's one thing that they haven't shown is who sent the parasites or who created the parasites.
That's true, but I guess so. But honestly, I think Parasite's done well and completed. Nice.
I think it's fine the way it is, but I am saying there's an opportunity for more if they want.
But I would never want it to be more, quite honestly, because it would just be another repeat of Shinichi going in, fighting with Miggy. Like, it wouldn't be exciting. There's not enough there for me to be interested in watching anything more.
I want more because I didn't get the one thing I didn't get the one thing I really wanted, which was Shinichi just standing like a badass in front of Goto saying, "I got this," and going mano y mano.
When would he do that? That's not really his personality.
Not yet. Wait till season 2.
There's no season 2.
I hope there is.
The source material's over. Like, that's it.
Is it? I don't mean it came out like a million years ago.
Yeah,
so.
but that's it. Like, this is where it ended.
I showed you that opening with the manga characters, right?
No.
I did. I'm 99%
like
sure.
They're ugly as anything?
No, never mind. I said that to Angela, not you.
Thanks, man.
Sorry.
Confuse me with that guy. Jeez. Okay, so what do we rate this thing?
Oh, yeah. Well, we rate out of 10 like usual, right?
Yeah.
So I rate Parasyte the Maximum. That ending, though. Okay, I rate it an 8.5 out of 10.
I would say very similar, 8.5. I'm a little more generous than you usually, but I'm going to say 8.5. Because I did not like how preachy it got.
Yeah.
And there were some really dry... Actually, no, every episode was awesome. But I think they left a lot of things unhinged. Like, they brought about a syndicate of parasites way too quickly. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't that Power Ranger-ish, fight the one bad guy, fight another bad guy. It was like, he fought a parasite, and all of a sudden they grouped together and had an organization, and he was the mayor. But then he wasn't the mayor. Like,
they had time skips.
Yeah, but it felt like all of a sudden the parasites organized and there wasn't chaos and Miggy, or it just felt
I didn't
weird.
have that feeling.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
If it wasn't for the preachiness, I would have given it a 9. But you reap what you sow, Parasite. You reap what you sow. All right. So 7 Deadly Sins. Okay, this is how you do an ending. This is how you end a series with opening for more, and this is how you make people sad. So basically, okay, I think where we left off was Elizabeth got captured or something like that. Yeah, no, we left off with Merlin showing up. Or not Merlin, the other one.
Oh, wow, that's the last thing we covered?
Yeah, the last time we covered is when Arthur showed up. Okay, so Elizabeth was captured. Bond talked to a goddess in a giant horn who said, kill Meliodas and I'll bring back
Which
Elaine.
they didn't really cover on, but I guess they will later.
Well, Bond said, I'll be back to settle things. That look you give Meliodas is pretty serious.
Mm-hmm.
And then he tries to kill Meliodas and he fails. Gotta go kill Mr. Do you remember that guy's name?
What? The main bad guy, Fredrickson?
Hendrickson.
I was dang close. Don't laugh at me. I am not the names guy, okay?
You know, they killed Dreyfus really just, like, nonchalantly. He's like, my shield cannot be... Oh.
I guess I'm dead. But it just showed how hardcore the other Deadly Sins were.
It came out of nowhere.
So, Deadly Sins, the last 3 episodes kind of blurred into one that can be easily described as follows. Pretty much, Hendrickson transformed twice. So, he was old guy Hendrickson, then he went to young guy Hendrickson
young buff Hendrickson.
by using fat red demon blood. Then, he got blown into fat red demon hole, into the ground because Bond just wrecked him because he's super mad. Goes down, and all of a sudden they find a gray demon.
Yep.
And he goes, "Oh, I'm ready." Well, okay. And then injects himself, and now he's super gray guy, who is just OP for all whatever. Ekness. What the heck is that word? Bless you twice.
Thank you.
So then they go back up, and all of the Holy Knights are now united, which is really cool. I like that. And they're all trying to fight this guy, but he's just wrecking show, and he's like raining death on everybody and all this stuff. It's crazy. Like, just everyone's dying. Meliodas is giving everything he's got, but then all of a sudden, bless you again, man.
Ah, God.
Jeez Louise. Then Elizabeth comes out of nowhere and goes, "I have powers," which we totally called.
We called that from, like, day 1.
And
or day
does
3.
this, like, super druid healing thing that, like, heals everybody except people who have died already.
Which is good. It'd be only if she could heal who was already dead.
Yeah, so then everyone's like, and then the demon guy's like, "Oh, whatever. Shoo, shoo." And then he gets up, starts fighting. Meliodas starts taking everybody's attacks to do like a super revenge hit.
Revenge counter.
Yeah, revenge counter. And then he uses that on Hendrickson, and Hendrickson gets wrecked. He's destroyed.
Yeah.
Utterly destroyed.
I also like how, damn, I don't remember his name. Pink hair.
Galther, yeah.
I like how Galther is the exposition guy now. He just explains moves.
How did Galther live through all this?
I don't know.
With the
Never
head?
explained. It's never explained.
Head got chopped.
He got stabbed, and he got decapitated, and he's okay.
You know what? He's probably a figment of everyone's imagination.
I don't know. But there's something super dark about him, because the way Merlin talked to him, and that creepy-ass smile he gave Gila, there's something messed up with him.
Oh, of course there is.
And I really want to know what.
So we ended where... It was hilarious. They're like, the 7 deadly sins did it. And I'm like, 1, 2, 3. There's not 7 there.
There's 6.
Yeah,
Actually, there's 5.
It was bothering me so much that
Merlin didn't even show up until the fight ended.
So it bothered me so much that this was like called the 7 deadly sins, yet we didn't have all 7 of them fighting together. I was so bothered, and I knew the end was coming, so I was like, what the heck's going on?
Apparently number 7 hasn't been revealed in the manga yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm calling it now. It's Hawk. I'm calling it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm calling that whoever it is got turned into Hawk, which is why Hawk survived that black stuff.
So yeah, Hawk got owned because he blocked a death shot to Meliodas.
That was really shockingly sad, because Hawk is nothing but a plot device for when people need to open doors, and comedic relief. And to kill the comedic relief, who doesn't really do anything in the plot, is just jarring.
It was sad.
It was really sad.
And he was black and dead. Like, he was dead black. And everyone was like, oh, he's so sad. And then when the healing happened, he didn't get healed.
You know what this last fight really reminds me of, now that I think about it? Was the last fight in Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
It's the exact same as everybody fighting Father.
Yeah. And, it was good. I really enjoyed 7 Deadly Sins all the way to the end. Even when they rode up on Mama Pig and kidnapped the princess and everybody went their own way, and all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, crap, we need to find our 7th guy. And then I was like, yes, thank you. And then they went off, and Meliodas
Meliodas doesn't really care that much about finding number 7.
But now they're going off to
They're going
Camelot.
to chase the bird who went to Camelot, and I'm assuming the bird is Hendrickson.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm excited for season 2.
I really hope we get a season 2.
I'm expecting it in a year or so when manga moves forward, but I'm definitely giving this anime just a 9.5 out of 10. There was little to no faults in this anime.
I give it a 9. It was really good, and I love that Bond did leave and he has to think this over, because the goddesses could have easily lied to him.
Yeah.
Because obviously Meliodas is like the ultimate demon-human hybrid.
There were fantastic characters. There was
great characters,
sort of
great
good,
action.
sort of good music. The pain and the pleasure all come together. There is no reason why.
With the exception of that opening, the music is great.
I still watch it every time all the way through.
I hate that opening so much.
Characters were great. Banter was funny. Plot development was not contrived. It just felt so good.
Powers were cool,
Yeah.
and with the exception of Meliodas, nobody felt overpowered.
Yeah.
Meliodas is just...
Meliodas
Ridiculous.
hasn't even shown his full power yet.
He never uses demon powers,
No.
like, willingly.
No.
I mean, he used it to, like, put his arm back on, and that was it.
That was cool.
It was pretty cool.
Like, there's a lot of just like dismemberments, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, thanks, back on. And the amount of times that Bond got wrecked made me so happy.
He got
Like,
a new jacket.
Yeah, he did, and it's actually fits him.
Yeah.
I was happy with that. But like, he gets obliterated so many times in the last battle.
Because he can just come back.
Yeah, and he's like, okay. It's just probably the creator of the story, just like putting that Wolverine-like character in there.
Yeah.
It's got to be good.
All right.
Seven
moving
Deadly
on.
Sins, good times, good times.
Tokyo Ghoul, Route A. Speaking of good times, this was not one of them.
No.
For the most part.
Okay, let me explain my disappointment.
Go ahead.
I've always been disappointed in Tokyo Ghoul.
Route A.
No,
Really? You were disappointed with season 1?
the end of season 1, I felt like it was super, I don't know. Like, Tokyo Ghoul, for me, had such good premise, good promise, and all of a sudden they started getting real sappy at the end. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it just felt really weird. Like,
Which season?
Season 1.
Oh, okay.
I thought Tokyo Ghoul was good. Like, it was high on my list. I probably gave it a 7.5 to 8 out of 10 last season. Like, it was good. But then Route A came out, and I was just let down after let down after let down after. What the heck's wrong with the animation? Why is that being censored? Who is this person? Why isn't Toka even doing anything?
We got explanations on this.
Oh, I know. The apparently there was the shooting or whatever in Japan. Like, I don't want to be inconsiderate. Obviously, they have to do that, right? I get that. Blu-ray releases will allow that not to be there, I assume. So that's not a big negative to the anime. It's just the fact that there was ridiculously inconsistent. That Gurren Lagann episode 4 moment.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
My. They were in one of the craziest prison break battles.
Of all the episodes to cut back on the animation budget, you don't choose one where a giant battle is taking place.
It was horrible.
Cut back on episode 1 or 2.
Like, I want to rewatch it and laugh because it was like a high schooler Flash animation decided to try to do repeated moves. Like, it didn't even look cool. It was horrible.
I've seen better Flash animations.
Ruby was better than that.
Oh, God.
You have to agree. That episode
Yeah.
lost to Ruby, and that's a big.
You know you fucked up when.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So it was up and down. The last 2 or 3 episodes, again, went back to being beautiful, but I don't like staring at Kaneki's face for 5 minutes as he walks holding his dead friend.
I really like that scene.
Really?
Yeah.
It was a little too long.
I thought it was like.
It was just a little too long.
I thought it was beautiful. And it was
I thought it was
sad,
too, but it was a little too long.
And it was my wallpaper for a while.
By the end of it, it was just like, okay, wow. This is why we never watch anime without cuts. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? Anyways, I was severely disappointed in Tokyo Ghoul. Would not recommend it to anybody. Especially Route A. I would give it like a...
What'd you think about the owl fight?
Which one?
Fights, both of them.
So the first owl fight?
Yeah.
Okay, the first owl fight...
The small owl and then the big owl.
With the owner of
Shinohara.
Anteiku.
No, it's not Shinohara. That's the cul-de-sac guy.
It felt like a music video to me. I don't know how to explain it. Like when I'm watching the first fight, it felt so floaty and music-y because that's what it was. Like when the Dobermans and the gorillas and everyone was fighting, it was so airy feeling, like it wasn't focused or intense. You knew that they had pitched it as a losing battle. So I felt like it was a losing battle.
Well, it's supposed to be a losing battle.
It was beautiful, but it was kind of like it was different than what I would have expected it to be. Dude, I just have painted Tokyo Ghoul with disappointment, so you're asking me the wrong things.
Okay, what about Big Owl?
I thought it was cool, but totally underplayed.
What do you mean by underplayed?
Nobody died. One person died.
I mean, 2 people ended up crippled.
But still, he was the most hardcore ghoul, and he ran away scared from the white hair guy.
She.
Did
you watch after the credits? When it was revealed who it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, who was it?
It's the writer. The green-haired writer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's the daughter
I didn't make that connection.
She's the daughter of... I can't remember the owner's name. I had it a little while ago.
They only call him boss, don't they?
Yeah, Tencho.
See, you know what? Or manager. I'm not going to watch Route A 2.
So, okay. I want to talk about this.
Go ahead, man, because you probably have a better opinion than I do.
I want to talk about one thing that I think the anime did right. And it's the use of the centipede powers of Kaneki. So in the manga, I said before that the centipede power is the equivalent of Kaneki's Super Saiyan. When he wants to become stronger, he transforms into the centipede. And in the manga, when he fights Amon, that's what he does. He becomes a centipede, and then Amon uses his new whatever weapon, and then they're pretty much even, and the fight pretty much plays out the same way as it did in the anime. In the anime, I really like what they did is that they treated the centipede as a physical manifestation of his ghoul habits taking him over. It was his desire to eat and kill and stuff, and that was the centipede. And so him not using the centipede was him saying, no, I choose to be human. I choose to accept my human side rather than my ghoul side. However, that doesn't make sense in the overall theme of the show because Kaneki choosing Aogiri is Kaneki choosing his ghoul side. In the manga, when Kaneki did not go to Aogiri, did not join any other ghoul group and formed his own of more human-like ghouls, that is Kaneki choosing his human side. So, it contradicts itself, which doesn't really make sense, but I do like the usage of it, if you know what I mean. And Amon is obviously in the anime, he is obviously not dead because his body is gone. And in the rules of anime, if your body is either missing or fell in a body of water, it lives. That is a law of the anime.
Unless you're the guy from Yona.
Which guy from Yona?
The arrow.
Oh, yeah. The guy Rulawa, the human trafficking dude.
Yeah.
Another thing he did well was, I think I think most of the fight on Anteka was great. With the manager and blah, 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 Kaneki was doing fine. One thing I didn't really like, the thing of this season that I hate more than anything else is that Toka did nothing. Toka did dick all. She started running to the fight in when there were 3 episodes left. She made it halfway into the final episode. And all she did was pick up a broken teacup. That's it. That was her purpose. That is all that Toka did, and it was worthless.
She made
all
a coffee shop,
screen
though.
time. She didn't make a coffee shop. She's working in the coffee shop.
No, she
a
owns a coffee shop.
17-year-old cannot open her own coffee shop.
She owns a coffee shop.
She doesn't. She's 18.
How do you know that?
Because you can just look at her. She hasn't aged yet.
No, but she owns.
She doesn't own the coffee shop.
Years in the future.
No, it's
She
not.
looked older. I'd swear she's roughly 21.
No.
I would know. I'm gonna give this anime a 6 because its season 1 allowed it to live up to some sort of hype, but it just sucked.
So at the very end, when Toka is putting out the sign and the sign says "Re," that is a throwback / reference to the sequel series of the Tokyo Ghoul manga, which is Tokyo Ghoul Re, which means they pretty much confirmed that there's going to be a 3rd season in one way or another. Why?
Nobody cares.
I care, but I want to know why. Because, okay, so in the manga, no spoiler intended. In the manga, when Kaneki does fight Arima, the white-haired guy, they do have a battle. That battle is resolved. There's a clear winner, there's a clear loser, and there's a clear ending to the series. We don't get that here. We get, hey, they're staring at each other. Kaneki's holding Hide, which was really sad, by the way. Hey, Kaneki has, reverted back to his human self on the inside, and, he clicks his weapon. I can't remember what they're called. Kagune. No. Something like that.
Yeah.
He clicks his Kagune, and he's like, okay, that's it. We don't know if we're going to fight. We're probably going to fight. Kaneki's probably going to lose or win, but we're not going to tell you. And that was it. And I don't, the only reason to do that is if you're trying to, muster up as much money you can for a 3rd season. To which I say, don't bother. Just finish the season. Just finish it right. I talked to Angelo. And I asked him, what did you think of the ending of Tokyo Ghoul? And he said, I'm still waiting for it to end. It didn't end. It just had another episode. That wasn't an ending. And he's right. That wasn't an ending. That was a cash grab. And I'm disappointed in that.
I was disappointed in so many series this winter. I agree with the guy. Sorry if I don't have your name. But you said we should not do a recap and just do a spring, pre-cap, I guess you would say. But, we got to finish what we started. But I agree.
I also disagree. Winter had one of the best anime that we've seen in a long time.
One anime, not a batch of wonderful eggs makes.
Do you want to say that again in proper English?
I guess that was okay. If one egg is good and the rest are rotten, it doesn't mean you're going to buy the pack.
I mean, if it's made of gold, I will.
If the one egg?
Yeah. We had a golden egg. Wait, I haven't rated Rude yet. What'd you rate it? 6, you said?
6. And that's high. That's Spencer optimism.
I think I either gave Tokyo Ghoul a 7.5 or a 7, but I would have, the original series, I would have given an 8 without censorship. So I'm going off the assumption that I give it an 8 without censorship. And so I would give this one a 7. No, wait. 6.5. It's not good enough.
No, it's not. Like, that was a high score for you.
It's because I really
know,
like the fight. And I love Tokyo Ghoul.
You like Tokyo Ghoul.
And I'm just
that.
I want more. You know, they kind of, I won't say they butchered it, but they failed me.
You know what I don't want more of? Aldnoah Zero.
You didn't even finish Aldnoah Zero.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't care. I got halfway through the last episode and I had to go somewhere and I never finished it. That was like 3 weeks ago.
You really liked Aldnoah Zero as well. I don't know what happened to you. It's kind of
Season 1. Season 2 was not good. It felt convoluted, strange. It was weird.
It didn't feel convoluted to me at all.
I didn't like it.
It felt pretty straightforward.
I don't know. It didn't have the glory that was Season 1.
What do you mean by that?
Season 1 was mech anime, yes, but it was cool. It had a Mars background. There were space battles. Everything was cool. Season 2, I couldn't muster up any sense of awe. Sure, they upgraded the CGI, but it felt like everything was pointing to one point, and it was super streamlined. It just felt like a very cliche anime all the way through.
Aldnoah Zero's been cliche since the first episode.
I know, I get that, but I guess
the reason
reality
Aldnoah
set in and all that.
The reason Aldnoah is so good is because, despite all of its cliches, is that the production value was top notch, and it has fantastic music, art, and animation, stuff like that, with the exception of some of the CGI. And the story is nothing special. It's been done a million times. The characters, I mean, Inoho doesn't even have a character. He's a shell. The person who has the most character is Slain.
I think what happened was Inoho got old, in my opinion. Like Inoho,
like you got sick of him.
Yeah. Inoho stopped being cool and he started being super annoying.
I see.
Like, you can't just be that godly all the time. It's not fair. And it's just stupid. I just knew he'd do well all the time.
Yeah, it's true.
It wasn't exciting for me. And I didn't finish the series. I just didn't care.
So with Aldnoah, what happened is, Slain said, I married the princess, or I'm marrying the princess. He gets all the power in the world.
Fake princess.
Yeah, and he's getting all the Oberon Knights on his side. And the real princess is about to be, or there's an assassination attempt on her by the Earth forces during the giant culminating space battle. Inoho shows up, finds her, saves her, passes out. His eye awakens and is like, go here, you will be protected. And then the eye gave its own life, like it had a life. The eye came to life and it's like, I protected her because I thought that's what you would want. Okay, didn't know eyes could be loyal, but sure. Mechanical eyes, mind you. And then, so she's escaping. Slain is trying to pursue her, but they have cloaking technology, which for some reason they don't know how to breach. You think a civilization that has invented cloaking technology would know how to counter their own technology, but I guess not. And then she's like, there's only one way she talks to her grandfather, which, did you see that scene?
Yeah.
I thought that scene was heartbreaking.
He's old.
That was incredibly sad.
Alzheimer's too.
I had a grandmother who was like that, and it was depressing. Yeah. It was absolutely just awful. And so seeing that made me really sad. But I'm glad that gave her the courage and the motivation to go all the way with this and sacrifice her own happiness and love in order to pretty much bring peace to the world. And so she marries Kruto's son, younger Kruto, and that immediately removes Slain from power. And the one thing I don't understand is that, so Slain is going into battle, and he's fighting Inoho, which is fine. It's a battle to the death. Slain already knows he's lost everything. Moonbase explodes. Lemrina is being ushered to safety by Heartlight and Slain's other little butt buddies. But what doesn't make sense is that, Heartlight turns around. That's fine. He's in love with Slain. Makes sense.
I got this far.
And, yeah, this is the second last episode, or the last episode. I can't remember. This is the last episode.
Midway through last episode, yeah.
And then, the Stieg whatever squadron, they turn around.
And everyone's like, I'm gonna help you.
That was fine. That makes sense. Why did the Orbital Knight turn around? He has no loyalty to Slain. His loyalty, I'm using air quotes here, was based on Slain having the most power. He has no reason to give his life to Slain when he's lost all of his power. There's no reason for him to do that.
I don't know.
Slain has never shown himself to be someone who rewards his loyalty. So there's no reason. And unless he's fallen in love with Slain's personality like Heartlight has, it just doesn't really make sense. But whatever. That happened. Inoho and Slain. Inoho wins. Because it's Inoho, he's never going to lose. And
I
like
just
you said,
assumed that. I ended
Yeah.
the
and
anime.
then so he based the position they're in is Slane is now falling to Earth, and he will burn up in the atmosphere or something. And then Inoho grabs him, and he's going to save him. And Slane is like, if you do this, we're both gonna die. By the way, the whole time they're fighting, I don't know how far you got. Inoho, like, he hacked into his mech, and he's like, stop fighting, you're gonna lose. Stop fighting.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah, I got that far.
Yeah.
He took out his predictions. Yeah.
So, which, I mean, you can't win after that. Inoho can already own you when you're using predictions. So when they're falling to Earth, Inoho helps him, and then Slane's like, you're gonna die too. Slane's like, not if I can help it. And it's like, come on, he's Inoho, he's not gonna die. So they land on Earth, like, Slane washes up on a beach, and he's like all hurt, and he's like crawling. Guns pointing in his face, Slane standing there. It's a parallel to what happened in the first season, the last episode. And so he has a gun to Slane's face, and Slane just gives a smile.
Who
Slane.
has a gun to his face?
Inoho.
Okay.
It's just like the last episode in the first season. And then Slane does the thing. He points to his head, like, shoot me in the head, like the Count did to Slane. And then it cuts, and it's like 6 months later. Okay. So there's peace now. Salem has married Kruto, like she has said, because if she didn't, she'd lose all her power, so she has to. Slane is in jail, and Inoho is doing regular visits, and Slane asks him, why are you the ones visiting me? And Inoho's like, because you're the only one, I'm the only one who you will talk to. And then Slane's like, why didn't you just kill me already? And he said, I saved your life because Salem asked me to. And he's like, I didn't save you because I like you. I only saved you because she asked me. And then Slane breaks down and he cries, and then he kind of like, excuse me. He kind of like does this happens on a very short period of time, but this is what I'm assuming would happen because of what they showed on his face. He has this introspective moment, and he looks in the sky and he smiles, and he repents, if you know what I mean. Like he realizes what he did was wrong, and he is sorry for what he did, and he's going to turn a new leaf and turn back into old Slane, is what I think they were going for. And that was pretty much it. Salem has given Mars technology to Earth. So, like, she's giving them, like, moon gates or whatever so they can teleport and stuff as a show of good faith. And they're actively working on making Aldnoah technology not coded to her blood because her goal is to give it to everybody. So every human and every Martian would have the Aldnoah activation. And it wouldn't just rely on her. Now, the issue I have most with this ending, and the issue that most people have with this ending, is that during this giant war, this huge battle where people are dying left and right, not a single main character was hurt. Not even hurt. Not killed, not injured in the slightest. Inko was fine. Yuki was fine.
There's a
Marito
protection
was fine.
thing.
Everybody was fine.
Like.
Not a single main character was hurt. Inoho lost tonight, but that's I hear he lost. He just took the thing out and he's like, I don't need it anymore.
It was boring. That's what I said. That's what I felt like.
There was no risk in this anime.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And that is so bad.
They didn't even touch on PTSD guy very much. And that was a big thing. And then he's fine. Entering in battles. There was no... It was like everyone in this anime, all the cast, all the mechs, hopped on a conveyor belt, sword fought along the conveyor belt, and then got dumped at the ending. They didn't jump. There was no sharks. There was no spikes. No flaming rings to jump through. They just jumped on an escalator on the ground and bing. See you later.
That is my biggest issue with the series, is that there was no risk to any of the main characters. There have been multiple times where it'd be perfectly okay for a character to die. And the only characters who die are Faceless Soldier A.
Yeah.
Faceless Soldier B. Character who had one line. Oh, yeah, let's kill him. The guy who's Ino's friend who died in episode 1 or 2, nobody remembers.
But that's what made it hardcore, was people were dying. Like, this was a real situation.
But no main character died.
In the first season, they were kids battling aliens, right? In the second season, they were OP soldiers owning aliens.
There was only one OP soldier, though.
But all of them were just soldiers. Fighting and winning all the time.
But they had a year.
I get 6 months.
Was it 6 months?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, come on, though. Like, the difference, especially for what I'm interested in, like the underdog, trying to get better. The difference was, like, you start off with you don't know what Aldnoah Zero is. You got all this hype. Then they finish off, people getting shot. Oh my gosh, is he alive? Is he dead? And then the conveyor belt that was season 2. So, Aldnoah Zero, as a total, because I assume it's over.
Yeah, it's staying.
I will give it an 8 out of 10, because
really?
I would recommend it to somebody.
That is high.
I would like it. I was anime weary when I was watching it, so like I would have finished it, but someone called me and I just never finished it. However, season 1 much greater than season 2.
I agree with you
Yeah.
on that front
Yeah.
much more. We said this before, or at least I said it before, is that in season 2, for some reason, to make Inoho stronger, they made everybody worse instead of just making everybody better, and that didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I give it. What I give Ghoul 6.5.
Yeah.
I give Aldnoah an 8. Yeah,
Because eight feels good,
because season 1 was so good,
and I'd recommend it to people. Like, this is good anime. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
for anybody who hadn't seen anime before, season 2 probably would be good anime too. But I've seen a little too many to be oohed and awed by an OP character lead and no one dying.
I'm so disappointed in people, nobody dying. It's awful. I said the writing isn't great. I said the production value is fantastic, but not having any main character die in a giant battle like that is just poor writing.
I need that like cathartic experience where like you have all these emotions working up and all of a sudden the ending you get like this really sad nostalgic funeral scene or something that just kind of makes you really sad, and then it's over and you get that feeling like, oh, I wish it was going more. You know what I mean? Or I wonder what they're doing right now. Didn't get that feeling with Aldnoah Zero. I don't care what they're doing right now.
I don't really want that feeling from an action anime. I look for that more in
Slice of life.
slice of life or comedy or harem.
Yeah, but I like to know what the Gurren Lagann people are doing right now.
Oh, I don't care. I mean, listen, I lost my 2 favorite characters in the anime. I don't care about them anymore. Like, what was his name? Shimon? Shimon, you can do whatever you want, dude. I mean, I already lost Kamina and Nia. Spoilers. So Durarara, no, we're on Log now.
Yeah.
So Log Horizon. Okay. So Log Horizon, we had, let's go over the arcs we had, shall we? We had a big raid in wherever. Shiro's raid where we met Tetra. We had Akiba raid with Akatsuki. We had C-Team arc, which was awful. And then we had Let's Go to the Moon arc.
No, there's
Or the Contact the Moon.
B-Team travel arc. Nobody
That was
cares.
C-Team.
There's C-Team?
Yeah, there's C-Team.
Oh, there was the B-Team.
B-Team was the raid with Akatsuki.
B-Team raid, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
C-Team is, yeah. Oh boy.
That was the D-Team.
Okay, so the last couple episodes were Shiro finally reads a letter from Rose 2.
Yeah.
And then
Shiro too.
Yeah. And so he actually remembers her, and she has all of his memories from when he played
You were
that
totally
character,
right, though.
which was cool.
Everyone was totally right.
Yeah,
The beta testing thing?
which is great. And Shiro making a female character, all right.
Whatever. Of course, do what you want. It's a beta.
Although the weird thing, I mean, I guess it makes sense. I don't like that she's the same class as him. Because the way I play MMOs is I never have 2 of the same class. I always make like 1 of each.
But Shiro likes the mental side to it, right?
Lame.
But
She's a different class.
He's not the same race, though. She's a vampire.
Yeah. Anyway,
Does that even exist, usually?
it might have been a beta-only class.
Hmm.
Who knows? And no, I've never played an MMO with vampire class. So, she tells you, get in contact with the moon because there are like-minded people like me on there. And then you'll find out more about this world. And Shiro makes the mental leap that if I contact the moon, there may be a hint to getting back to our original world. And I don't know why he makes that leap, but he does.
Why not?
Well, it doesn't make any sense. She said, contact the moon and you'll find people like me. How does that mean you'll go home? It doesn't make any sense. But the biggest thing is, she and a bunch of her kind, the geniuses, are also people from a different world. So at the very least, we have 3 worlds that collided. Our world, their world, and then the world of Log Horizon, which is, can't remember, Eldertale.
Yamato? Well, that's Japan, technically.
Yeah, the world of Eldertale, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, okay, and then Rai... Do you remember that guy's name? The old guy who's obsessed with Shiro and really smart?
No idea.
Rai... I don't remember his name.
Just call him Rise.
I'm gonna call him Riot. So Riot, yeah, you guys know who I'm talking about. So Riot is like the antenna building has a signal, so you might possibly be able to contact the moon. And as soon as that is discovered, the geniuses go full on assault on this world.
Yeah.
They send these moths that are putting people to sleep, and they continually drain your MP. Restoring MP doesn't help. Obviously, you have to go to the source, and so it becomes the world of the city of Akiba has now a section that's become a raid zone with monsters they've never seen before. And so they have this impromptu raid, which is great because the raid was the one and only good arc of this anime. And so having another raid with Shirue and the main characters excited me with Tetra and the girls from DDD, all the OP characters. And then they get the raid team together and then I see Minori and I see Toya. And I see Rudy, and I see Yasuzu, and then I drop my headphones and I say, why? Why are you here? Go back inside. Nobody wants you. You terrible characters. We don't like you. Anyway, raid commences. Shirue stops pushing up his glasses, and okay, I don't know what's wrong with Log this season. So Shirue not pushing up his glasses is a fine, subtle indicator to something is wrong. But when you cut to a different girl being shocked that he doesn't push up his glasses every single time he doesn't do it, you lose the subtlety altogether.
Well, you do gain a harem.
He's already had harem. He had one last season.
It was more subtle last season.
Ah.
Log sucks.
So they do the raid. Shirue's being a dickhead. They basically wipe. And then Shirue stops being a dickhead. They're like, all right, let's raid again. They have the fight with the genius, which is actually a really good fight.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Finally, we had a good one anyway. And so that fight ends. They beat him. They use the communication device. And I actually really like where this went, where they actually start talking to Kanami.
Yeah.
And the look on their faces when they hear her voice. Natsugu's face is horrendous shock. Nyanta's face is, oh, excuse me, I'm burping. Nyanta's face is, oh my god, no. And then, out of nowhere, Rize, I think it was Rize, the blonde curly hair girl, she had a reaction too. So she knows Kanami as well. And then, of course, the two members of his harem are like, oh god, and then Tetra's being like, it's his ex-girlfriend, hey.
Yeah.
And she's super excited. Anyway, the gist of the situation is she's like, my kid is 3. Oh, we'll get you back to the old world then. Actually, no, I want her to be in this world too. And he's like, okay, instead of going back to the old world, I'll make it a bridge so we can go in and out whenever we want. And I was just thinking to myself, so you're turning this into a VR game. It's basically what you're thinking.
It's pretty much Sword Art Online.
Because that's what that is. If you succeed in doing that, it's nothing more than a VR game.
Which is fine.
Which is fine, I guess, sure.
Yeah, but I would rather be stuck in the world than have to be able to get out because people expect you to get out.
I don't know. I'd rather not live in that world. I'd rather be in this world. If I had the choice, I'd stay in this one.
I'd like to live there.
You know you wouldn't have your wife, right?
She'd come with me.
Do you think your wife would want to go inside a video game?
Are you kidding me?
What?
All she ever wants to do is live in a cottage by a lake and just have relaxing vacation time.
You're gonna be surrounded by monsters. That's not relaxing
You don't
vacation
die.
time. You lose your memories when you res.
But you just don't die.
You eventually, assuming you would die,
You have OP skills. You can fly on griffins. I don't.
You can start level 1. It's not OP skills. Are you gonna do a raid to get a griffin, Spencer? Are you level 90?
We'll figure it out.
Figure it out. Come on, Spencer. Okay. So that was like the end. They ended by eating curry, which was nice and all. And then what's her name? Nuraha grew a pair, and she fought back against the girl who was really mean to her.
No one cares about that other girl, though.
I care about Nuraha.
No, the one who's mean to Nuraha?
Oh, yeah, nobody gives a crap
Who
about
is
her.
she?
She's like the leader of
She's
their
dumb.
people.
She's just a plot device.
The war is called off, and so they said Shirue is going to have to come to talk to us in order to call a peace treaty because Shirue doesn't want war. Which was really random. That kind of came out of nowhere. Log was bad this season.
Uh-huh.
Log was. I'm horribly disappointed.
I don't even care.
Why did it get so bad? It was so good in season 1.
Because it's too convoluted now. Oh yeah, and then there's Rusty with his arm.
Rusty.
Yeah, whatever. his name
Seriously, what's with you names this day?
is. It's been a month.
So what? It's been a month for me too.
You have better naming sense than me.
Okay, so Krusty somehow got teleported to China. Fine. But what I don't understand is how an arm came with him and is still able to move. That is creepy, dude. Would you not be creeped out by that?
No. His arm got cut off by this.
Her arm.
Whose arm?
The girl's arm.
Oh.
It's her arm. It's not his arm. If it was my arm, I'd be okay with it. But he's carrying a girl's arm with him that is moving. That is creepy as all hell.
Is that moving because she's thinking of moving it?
I don't know.
Weird. I don't know. It was lame. Just didn't like it this season. Log Horizon in general, I'd give 7 out of 10. And at this point, It's not better than Sword Art Online. Oh,
It's equal.
yeah.
It's equal in terms of crappiness. Actually, the writing is still better in terms of character. Actually,
No.
okay, if we talk about the C team is the Sword Art characters. But B and A team are still better than Sword Art. But regardless, okay, so you're giving it what, 7.5?
No. 7.
7?
That's gracious.
God, season 2 was bad. I will give season 2 I don't want to give it the same as Ghoul. Ghoul was...
That's what you get for being so low with your scores.
No, you know what? I'm giving it the same as Ghoul, 6.5. Ghoul was... I actually enjoyed Tokyo Ghoul more than I enjoyed Log this season.
Oh, I did... Oh, no. No, I don't think I did. What'd I give Ghoul?
I don't remember, 7.
I think I gave it a 6. Sounds right. I don't know. I was just severely underwhelmed by a lot of different anime this season. Okay.
So I'm assuming Log is going to get a season 3. If it does, I hope they go back to the roots of season 1 and stop being crap.
I won't watch it until I know for a fact that it's good. Based on what people are saying online. I just don't care.
What do you mean? What are they saying online?
No. I'll wait. Like, if it comes out, I won't watch it
Oh.
until it's like halfway
I
down
see
or
what you
whatever.
mean.
Speaking of not coming out until a little later, May 3rd is the release date for the new Digimon, which is an odd time
I'm fine with that.
for spring.
I have to catch up
Yeah.
with all that. You know, I got really sick and tired of... Just because I host a podcast, I am now like the anime dude.
Yeah.
And because of that, people are always asking me, hey, did you watch this? Did you watch this? Did you watch this? I'm like, listen, I have finals. I can't watch anything. I'm busy. And I got sick and tired of it to the point where this one dude kept asking me over and over, like every week. And I looked at him and I said, listen, I was too busy watching interracial porn to watch anime, okay? I'm like, my hand is sore. And he's like, oh. And he like gave me a really gross look.
Interracial.
I don't know, just whatever's on the top of my head.
What the heck is that?
And then he walked away. It's between people of two
Yeah, I
different skin types.
understand that, Rug. Is that a specific genre?
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Anyway, so that he's never asked me since that day if I've watched any of the new anime, which I'm glad. I'm glad that's all it took to make him shut up. He's getting really sick and tired of it.
It's a good story.
Thanks, man. You got any stories you want to share?
No, not really. Work's been work. I mean, there's D&D, but...
Oh, okay. I want to talk about beginner session D&D.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So, we've had 2 beginner sessions where Spencer and I carry over our brand new characters. I have a fighter. Spencer has a
Cleric.
Mine is Weiss. Yours is Dyrus, named after the Pro League of Legends
It's not
player.
named after the Pro League of
No,
Legends.
but come on. I've only ever heard Dyrus in that context, and I do not believe that you did not get it from that. You must have subconsciously
No.
drawn it from
That's
him.
like saying, oh, I'm going to name my son Abraham. You know, after Abraham Lincoln. No, I just wanted to name him Abe.
Anyway, okay, so for this first session, we had Spencer's brother, and we had Ray, who was my neighbor and our mutual friend. We already talked about that session. Second session, Ray was being flaky, so he was booted out in favor of Sean, who was a person I'm not a fan of, but regardless, doesn't matter. So we had this session with him, and he spent a long time just watching us do crap, and like, he was waiting for his chance to show up, and so the way I showed up was pretty simple. When I first started D&D, there was a fire, you guys sat down, and I was at the fire, and then my first words to you were, get away from me, you filthy creature.
Yeah.
So we started off with kind of the wrong foot,
Yeah,
which
but
is
you
actually a
always
pattern.
Okay, listen. I'm not a veteran at D&D, but I've played a good few sessions now, and I've introduced it to a bunch more people now that me and Dave have been in it for a while. The one thing I notice is that there's a couple things, but every single person who and Dave agreed with me, who starts D&D off, starts it exactly like anybody does playing a friend's game of GTA 5, or GTA in general. You boot up the game, you load your character, you go to the weapon shop and you grab a baseball bat. Then you go and beat up a bunch of homeless people, right? Get a sniper, you shoot pedestrians, you grab the fire truck, you ride around and squirt people with the hose, and you just cause chaos. You don't care about the story. You don't care about you following the rules. You just want to see what you can get away with.
Yeah, you want to see what you can do.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what Sean was doing, but at the same time,
Sean is an interesting person in that socially he isn't the most keen social person in the world. Aside from that, like, he's a pretty genuine guy, but he has some weird things going on in his head. Like, he's a hyper intellect, sort of. Like,
I know what you mean by that.
There's a lot going on in his brain, and it doesn't quite make his way socially to his mouth.
Okay.
So that it cooperates well with people in general. So anyways, he spent the entire time being annoying. Like, he wasn't following his character at all. Don't worry, it's my grandparents. So, Sean's thing was, if I want it more than someone else, I'm gonna take it. Or I always ask lots of questions, or I owe a debt to this person. He didn't give a crap about asking questions. He didn't give a crap about repaying a debt to somebody. He didn't even care about keeping it with the party. Like, it got so bad, his character,
We almost killed him.
that you and Bryce tied him up and chucked him in a flaming fire.
No, we almost chucked him in the fire.
You tried to.
Yeah.
And then when we were about to leave on an adventure, all three of us looked at each other and said, we have no idea why we want you to come with us. Zero idea. I even paused the game multiple times.
You did, yeah.
To try to tell Sean that you could do this, this, and this to try to incorporate in the story. Just because, you know? But he just would have nothing with it. He got so bad that this guy decided he was going to pray for some reason. And, you know, he's a Christian guy, so I can see what he was trying to do.
He did that multiple times.
But Dave was like, look, this is a multi-god universe. Which one are you praying to? Gave Sean a chance for an out. Saying, okay, no, I don't want to do it. So, the death god. I'm like, Sean, what the heck are you doing? Right? And he's like, oh, roll. Oh. And Dave's like, okay, you get slammed in the face by some mythical power saying you don't know what you're dealing with. He now has like a demon mark on his face of a white skull and everything. And he just sucked. And Sean texts me later. He's like, oh, super uncomfortable with what happened to my character. Can we just not have that happen? So I'm like texting Dave. I'm like, look, he's like not liking what happened. And Dave's like, but it's his fault. I'm like, yeah, I understand that. But like,
what, the skull in the face? He's not
skull in the
happy with
face,
that?
yeah. I was like, so, he's like, yeah,
I
fine.
thought that was pretty cool.
No, I don't know. He's like, I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable, Dave said, so I'll remove that. And since none of you guys are religious people, religious characters, we just will remove most mentions of like gods and that stuff anyways, because they're not really necessary. So.
Aren't you a cleric though?
Yeah, but my cleric, like I have a sub thing that I did called Logica, where I've studied so much knowledge that I've kind of gone, like I've become an atheist, sort of like an agnostic, whereas I understand that they're not gods, but super monsters that give me power if I do certain things. So I've itemized it and logicked it enough so that I'm like, okay, this is Bahamut, he's a big dragon, he'll give me XYZ powers if I do XYZ. I'm not worshipping him, I'm just doing what I need to get power.
That makes sense.
So that's my knowledge base. So that's kind of what. And so Dave agreed, but that was frustrating, and I don't think I'm going to invite him back.
Thank God. I was annoyed. Like, okay, we had an entire thing because, like I said, I don't care for Sean. I don't like him as a person. Which is fine. We don't have to have friends that we like. Like, you know what I mean.
You don't have to have people that you like.
Yeah, we don't have to have. What I'm saying is, I don't have to like some of your friends. You don't have to like some of mine. It's just the way it is. So, but Spencer's like, you spent a good amount of time trying to convince me that it was like to invite him or whatever. And I said, look, I'm not going to tell you not to invite him. That's your choice. But I'm going to tell you right now, you'll never convince me to like him. That's going to be something that has to happen on its own.
As a person that day, he was good. He brought rum and coke, and that was nice. But in game, it just so annoying. And Bryce even said to me, he's like, you know what? Like watching me, you, and Raj interact with each other. We have a camaraderie. Like, our characters like understand each other now. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like D&D is one of the most real games in that the longer you play with the people and your character, the more you guys mesh and move forward with the story.
Yeah.
And outsiders are treated like outsiders. It may seem weird where you're like, well, you got to find a way to introduce your character, but you really do. Because or else, and everyone sets off on the wrong foot all the time because they're just being stupid. Right?
So the big thing, okay, my character is a soldier and he always follows laws and such. And the first thing that Sean's character did was steal. And then, so, my character is like, he's a thief, theft is a crime needs to be punished. And my punishment was, I actually didn't do anything to him, actually. You killed people, so I was focused on you. But whatever, he did his thing for a while. But then, I probably shouldn't have done this, because this was me mixing my out of character feelings with my character feelings. Where I overreacted as my character, and that's why I tried to throw him into the fire, because I wouldn't want to throw a character in the fire because I don't want your character to die, but because it was Sean, I didn't really care what happened to his character, so I was 100% okay with me killing him in game, but it didn't happen. And so what happens is Sean has been being annoying, he doesn't really do anything, which is okay, he's still trying to get used to the game, I thought that was okay. But then, so we're at the final battle, basically, it's obvious when it's a final battle, it always is, it's telegraphed. And so what's going on is Spencer and his brother Bryce are fighting explosive chickens who will blow up on you. which is actually hilarious.
It was pretty awesome.
And then there was this giant gelatinous pig.
Yeah.
And that was the final boss. And during all of this, and this is before the prayer, Sean was heckling and assaulting a farmer. He put his hand over the farmer, and it was very rapey, actually.
Yeah, what was he doing?
I don't know what he was doing, and what I wanted to do was get Sean into the fight. And so I said, you can't assault people, like in-game, you can't assault people, it's crime, blah, blah, blah. I restrained Sean, and my strength is so high that he couldn't actually break out of my restraint. And I literally dragged him into the fight. And that's when I finally let him go, which when we were close enough to the fight and I could do something.
So I just realized what I'm going to do. As you were talking, I was trying to figure out how to make it not awkward, because the preference of beginner session is to introduce the game to beginners.
Yep.
Me, you, and Bryce are the core.
Yep.
3. And I'm okay with that. If it just happens to me, you, and Bryce, and Dave, I'm okay with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the Traveling of Tower Alistair message group. I'm just not going to use it anymore.
Who's in it?
Sean.
Oh.
And us.
Okay.
And I'm going to make a new one with just me, you, and Dave.
Okay.
And because Bryce doesn't have Facebook and it doesn't matter. So then what we'll do is we will plan the session. And I told Bryce, like, I'm like, Bryce, I'm being selfish, but I'm pretty much, the beginner session is entirely for you. Me and Raj have our own session. Me and Dave and Raj have our own session.
But I really like this beginner session.
Yeah.
Because I love Weiss. He's hilarious.
Yeah. And it's fun to play with Bryce and you, and it's really fun. So, and I don't want to invite Sean, and I don't want to invite Ray. But they're both in the message group now.
I feel like Ray has the potential to do so well with the game, but he's just so...
But we can't have 5 of them.
Yeah. But Ray is like socially... He's always in a shell. And he's super comfortable around me and you, that's fine. But he doesn't know Dave well enough to be Ray. He knows...
I want him to be Ray, though.
Yeah.
If he was Ray, or at least if he played like Ray thinks in-game, and he was sort of weird, right? But his character could work.
That's
oh
why...
my gosh, I just hit it.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
There's a giant bug flying around. So, well, that's why I said Ray has a lot of potential, because Ray is crazy and he's imaginative and it's great. But Ray, when there's people he doesn't know, is in a shell and he's soft-spoken and he's shy. He's an introvert. So
what I'm gonna do is make a group with just us 3, and we'll just be like the beginners group, and all we'll do is we'll chat on what the next date will be.
That's fine. So D&D's canceled tomorrow, by the way, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I woke up to that message and was like, oh, okay, I was sad.
Well, yeah, because I was like, we were excited about it because Dave was out, but it was still going, and then Ryan's out, and I'm like, oh, 2 people out, especially Ryan and Dave, like they're big players. It would be me, you, and Mike is like a non-presence in the game, right? And you weren't even in the dungeon.
Yeah.
So it would be me, right? It would be me, and then you would come along.
Yeah.
And Mike would just be Mike. And I would not, like...
It basically be driven by us.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And your Zeo character is kind of a floaty, elf rapey kind of guy. So he wouldn't help drive the story, and it would be up to my character. So pretty much in the last session, Raj couldn't make it because he was studying. And so his character is obsessed with elves.
My flaw is an unhealthy obsession with elves.
And so what we did was we were like, we were about to go on a journey and you weren't there. So we were like, oh, where's Zeo? And then Mike's character Emery was like, oh, he found an elf partner, has been fraternizing with him all weekend. He's way too busy to come with us or whatever. And we assume it was a male elf. And
you know I haven't given Zeo a sexual orientation, but what's great is that totally fits. It's exactly what he would do.
Yeah. So anyways, that's kind of what I'm going to do for beginner session, because I want to leave it open because Issa might be interested in coming in.
Okay.
So I want to cycle through these guys, right? Like my plan isn't to make this a session where these guys play every week with us. I'm trying to let them have a taste of what D&D's like. And then because Mike's gone May 2nd, right? So we have pretty much a permanent spot opening up in the main session.
How long is he gone for again?
Like 6 months, 7 months.
Where's he going again?
Saskatchewan or Saskatoon?
Saskatoon. Living with my dad.
Yeah. So anyways, like I'm trying to see who's the best fit. Bryce is too busy. No.
Well, the man has like 2 kids.
No for Sean. If Ray gets comfortable, then no. Maybe.
That's a huge issue because there's even more people there.
Yeah, Ray would not be comfortable.
Like Ray getting comfortable with Dave, I can see that happening. That's fine. Ray getting comfortable with Dave, Leobin, not gonna happen.
No. I can't see. The only one that I might see might be viable is if Issa really likes it, like comes in. Like Issa seems to be like a kind of chill, nice guy.
I feel like Brian would do well if he wanted
Brian
to play.
Brown?
Yeah.
I'm gonna invite him next into the thing, but I think I'm gonna stop inviting that group of guys. They just don't work like that, I guess, and they're really.
Brian seems pretty creative though.
Yeah, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna learn how to DM. I'm gonna try to. going to buy the book and I'm going to talk to Dave a lot, then I'm going to host like a session for them.
Buy the starter kit.
Yeah.
It comes with a pre-made
Campaign?
Yeah.
Oh, I might do that.
And it has pre-made character sheets if you want to use those as well.
So I want to learn how to DM because I want to do like Levi, Bryce, Josh, Sean, and Brian. Like those are like those guys. I'll DM for them.
Mhm.
They can be in a comfortable environment with people they know. I can make it as comfortable for them, like removing like super weird, like godlike things if they don't like. You know what I mean? I can
Yeah.
make it fit them. I can even design the story for them. And then go from there. And I'm learning how to DM, and they get to play the game. So that could work. I could borrow a bunch of stuff from Dave, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, I'm just glad that we've settled into a really comfortable main session. I think the people that are there are good. Like, it's a lot of fun. Like, me, you, Ryan, Mike, or Mike's going to be gone. But I think we could even just let it be just me, you, Ryan, and Mike. Like, that's
You mean Dave, not Mike.
Sorry, me, you, Ryan, and Dave. I think that'd be
I think
pretty...
that's a pretty solid group.
4 people, turns go faster. Our characters mesh pretty well.
I'm really glad I joined this D&D group.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that you invited me.
Yeah.
I've been having a lot of fun.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't turn out to be someone that I wanted to disinvite. Pretty much. You were my first gamble, and you were my best gamble. So far, Bryce is the only other one that's paid off so far.
but it's me. I get along with everybody.
Yeah,
you know
that's
me.
true. Yeah. Anyways, ready to talk about anime again?
Social skills, man. Yeah.
You need them.
Some people just don't have them. They're not easy. I was a loner in elementary school. I had to learn how to make friends.
Dude, it's hilarious. In that D&D, the most antisocial game in society's eyes, takes a very special social person. Like, you can be introverted, but you gotta be creative.
Yeah.
Like, you know when Sean was sitting there and he's like, I haven't thought like this in a long time, right? Mental theater. D&D is one of the most interesting things. Like, the landscapes that I build in my mind when we're playing are quite fantastical, actually. Oh, amazing thing. I felt so stupid. Like, I was about to go to bed the night after the session, and I was like, all of a sudden something Dave said clicked in my head, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. He had given us another green cure-all potion, right? The elixir, pretty much.
Yeah.
And he's like, so does anyone want to drink it? I'm like, no, whatever. Everyone's like, oh no, we're good. So no one with any lingering alchemic effects. I'm like, I don't think anything happened to us during that session. I was like, whatever. So then I stowed it in the bag, right? Sleeping. All of a sudden I'm like, I have boobs! I was like, oh my gosh! And I texted Dave and I'm like, I can't believe it. And he's like, I can't believe you didn't drink it. I'm like, first thing next session.
But if you do it, you might lose your regen powers.
I don't have regen powers. I just got more health.
Oh. Okay,
I almost got regen powers.
Yeah, that's right.
That would have been cool, but I didn't.
Would the boobs be worth the regen powers, though?
Yes. No. I don't want them.
Okay.
Dave never does anything to them, but I'm a blue-skinned boobed person.
I think Dave isn't comfortable with abusing your body.
No. So
He's comfortable with abusing my body.
Is, though. Sean was doing some messed up things to me, and Dave was being quite detailed about it. So I'd rather drink it and get rid of my status effects, because you guys like your status effects.
I like having
You have a move.
Yeah, I do.
You got a move, like a warhorse move, because your character's so fat, and Bryce has a beard that acts as AC to shield his neck. Like, that's pretty cool.
I still love that Weiss loses weight every battle.
Yeah. What do you have now?
He's at like 625.
Mm-hmm.
625 pounds, mind you. For a 5'8" half orc.
I really wish we could play more often, but I'm okay. The sessions are long enough and intense enough that every 2 weeks is good.
I just don't like I usually have to work the next day, and I'm usually working in the morning.
I don't ever work the next day,
Makes me
so
sad.
it's good.
Oh, well.
I work
Great for
every
you.
other day, though.
Good.
I even work the day of in the morning.
I usually work the day of anyway. All right, now we're talking about Durarara. Okay, so Durarara had... This is... Okay, I'm going to describe this scene that makes Durarara great, and this is coming from someone who still believes Season 1 was absolute garbage. This is the scene that makes Durarara
You
awesome.
finished Durarara, by the way.
I finished half of it. That's all I wanted to finish.
It got better in the second half.
Whatever. So, we have this conversation so often. Okay, so we're in the back of the school, right? Behind the gym.
Yeah.
2 guys are fighting at it. Sure. A gang shows up for one guy. Okay. A gang shows up for another guy. Okay, now there's a brawl between 2 gangs, and then the 2 leaders of the said gangs. Well, one is the face of the elite of the gang. Whatever. Okay. Suddenly, a girl who can summon swords out of her body shows up and is now fighting a biker Russian assassin. And they're fighting to the death with blades. Okay. Suddenly a blonde-haired butler is walking up with a motorcycle on his shoulder, ready to chuck it at people. Okay. Suddenly, an anime fan with gasoline comes and starts dousing on biker gangs and starts setting them ablaze. Like this chaotic mishmash of characters is what makes Durarara good.
Yeah, exactly. No, and it's like the climax to all of the build up.
Yeah.
In the like the other climactic moment was when they were having that giant fight underneath the tunnel.
Yeah.
Right, that was another, like, there were a couple moments that Durarara leads into, especially two main arcs in this one, like, season that happened. And it's so, like, I always find myself with a smile plashing on my face when the chaos is happening.
It's so noisy and chaotic,
Yeah.
and I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And the strange battle, and then Shizuo leaving the dollars because he's not okay with him kidnapping girls.
I love Durarara. I love the characters. I love the music. I love the storytelling. Durarara all the time, and this season was even better than last season. By far, got a 9.5 from me.
So basically, I haven't finished recapping it, is a little girl, whose name I can't remember, gets saved by Celti. Celti takes her away, but then she ends up getting kidnapped by Verona and her friend. And then so this is after the whole chaotic battle where the fight between Big Boobs Girl and Verona is interrupted by the guy in the hat. And I hate that guy so much because he's just so... He doesn't shut up about women. He is the white knight stereotype in anime form. And I hate the white knight stereotype. I hate that kind of person. And I only... do you know anyone like that? Do you know white knights in real life? I know one. And I despise him. No? Alright, well. Anyway. So, they have kidnapped Verona, or not Verona, the little girl, and they're in a truck, going away. Suddenly, a car starts rolling towards the truck, and it's Shizuo soccer kicking the car to block bullets
Yeah.
while it's coming at her, and she's freaking out. And then Shizuo gets in, she pulls up a gun on Shizuo. Surprise, Celti disarms the gun. That's cool. A bunch of knives are about to fall on the little girl. Shizuo blocks them, and he picks the girl up.
He's so hardcore.
Yeah, he leaps out of the moving truck. Celti protects him, even though I don't think he needed it, because he's Shizuo.
Okay, this more Shizuo screen time is better.
Shizuo's the best character in this anime,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And then they the Shizuo and the little girl have a heart-to-heart, and then she forgives him or whatever, and she gives him a hug, and she calls him Shizuo Nichan. It's like, oh, she's adorable. And so they make up, she stops trying to murder him, and it's revealed that Izaya is the one who's trying to get her to kill him. And her backstory was nice, and also kind of sad. But, it's my belief that regardless of what your family's like, it doesn't matter if they're scary, whatever their status is, people will stick around with you because you're you. It doesn't matter what your background is, if people like you, they will be your friend. And that's all that girl has to really do.
Then the Verona and the other guy got
ambushed.
Was
amazing.
Yeah, ambushed and wrecked.
Oh my god, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
That guy is a slave or dead or something, and Verona is just taken back to her dad.
Yeah.
By Simon. Freaking Simon.
Simon.
Oh my god.
Russian sushi.
He's like, oh man, I'm not feeling it. You need some Russian sushi. I just said that wrong. Russian sushi.
It's such a good character, but like,
that was so funny.
And it connects everything. Like they've been there since season 1, but now like you're seeing all their connections and all this stuff.
Now we know why there's a Russian sushi place.
Ryo, like Forehead Kun. I don't even know his name, but Forehead Kun.
Mikado's his first name. Ryogami is his last name.
He's the most normal character, and that's why you probably don't like him. But that's why he's you know what?
I'll tell you why I don't like him.
You've been saying the same thing to me a couple times. It's why you don't like Alan from 2.5 Men. It's because you don't like characters without backbones.
That's why I hate Mikado. I don't like characters who are pushovers. I have an extremely confrontational personality. When I have an issue with somebody, I take it up with them up front. When someone makes me angry, I'll tell them why they make me angry, and I try to work it out with them. Someone who just takes other people's crap and doesn't do anything about it makes me angry.
But it showed he was a little twisted, though.
He's not, and I'll tell you why.
At the very end.
I'll tell you why, Spencer. Okay, so this is what happened to Mikado, okay? He finds out through the stupid hat white knight guy that he is not suited for this world. And Mikado's like, it's not that I could never keep up with this world, I've never caught up with it in the first place. And I don't belong in this world. And he has this kind of existential crisis, and he kind of breaks down.
I can see the desire, though. It seems fun and interesting and exciting, and if you're left out, I get that.
Yeah, makes sense. So he's crying, and then so he goes to what's-his-face, and he stabs his hand, and now he's the leader of Blue Squares. Okay, this is why he did it. He did it because he's trying to overcompensate for something he doesn't have. He's trying to force himself to be someone who's
That
interesting.
didn't look forced to me.
It looked
that
completely
looked like
forced to
that
me.
was the one moment he was being true to himself the whole anime.
I disagree. That looked completely fake and forced to me.
It didn't. To me, it looked like he snapped and then regained control because that's his like fake persona.
I disagree.
Because there were a couple times where it showed his real thing, where he's like smiling when he's going into battle, or he looks really like twisted. I think he's twisted.
I don't think he's twisted.
I think there's going to be a huge twist with him.
I think he just likes excitement. That's it. And
yeah,
then,
but I think he's also a little messed up too. We've never heard his backstory before.
not interested in his backstory.
So, anyways, I think that pretty much sums up a majority of all the characters. Oh yeah, it ended with Isaiah getting screwed by some guy.
Yeah, people are really happy about that, but I don't really care for Isaiah. Like, in that, I don't mean I don't like him. I mean I just don't care about him.
You didn't get to see what he was doing in season 2. He was more of a presence in season 2.
Even one.
Season 1, part 2.
He just, I mean, listen, with Durarara, you can always assume that whatever's happening is Isaiah's fault. It's just the way it is. You skipped one.
I am, on purpose.
You want to do it last?
Mm-hmm.
All right, fine. So you gave it, what, a 9.5?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I give it an 8.5. It was really good.
It's oh man, it's so good.
Durarara is great.
Characters are funny. It was always a good romp every Thursday that it came out or whatever. It was
And seeing Miyuki's face on the side of a van always makes me laugh.
Yep. The references were so funny too. Like they would mention everything, even Samurai Flamenco reference, like we said before. Just so good.
Okay. Katsuki no Yona. This was also pretty good. And an anime that I really, 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 really want a season 2.
You know what? I just want to go back.
Excuse me.
Remember when we watched episode 1 of Akatsuki no Yona?
Oh, and we skipped half of it?
We skipped half of it. We were like, this is crap. This is shoujo garbage. We hate this. Skipped half of it. It got intense. Like, we almost closed it, but then it got really intense in the last 30 seconds. We're like, oh, maybe we should watch more. See, episode 2? Here we are, final episode, raving about this anime. Like,
it had a weak start, but it finished strong, and it finished making me want more. So the Battle of Awa happened. Yona ends up shooting whatever the guy's name is.
Which we saw at the beginning, the title sequence for so long.
But the shooting scene was really important because this is Yona's first blood. This is, and I don't mean her period. This is Yona drawing first blood. Thanks for the laugh, Dad.
Well done.
This is Yona having killed somebody, which is so important for what's going to happen later. At least I think so. And then the dragons are doing the dragon things. That's fine. Jeha realizes, hey, I love Yona because it's in my body. I kind of have to. And then he just joins the group, and that's fine. Yona treats your nephews are here.
Niece.
Your niece is here.
And my nephew, but she's crying.
Yona treats the pirate captain as a mother because Yona never had a mother. And that's all nice and stuff. Okay. Yellow Dragon shows up.
That was rushed.
Okay.
Yeah, but everyone in the show agreed. They're like, what the heck? He's just here and he's okay joining the party? And then they even said, I love this. They're like, wow, like, that beat your record for speed of joining White Snake or whatever they call him. But it's just funny because it's like, the white hair guy took half an episode to join.
Yeah.
Okay. Blue haired guy, 2 episodes.
2, yeah.
Green haired guy, 3 or maybe 4.
Yeah.
Almost. Like, it was long. Yellow guy was like, hello, 30 seconds. I'm in. As long as he gets food, he's fine.
Yoon said it right. He said getting all 4 dragons was a little too easy.
Mm-hmm. But I like how they approached it, and it didn't end too quickly. Like, what are we going to do now?
He's my favorite dragon, by the way.
Yellow? Yeah.
And for one reason only, he is voiced by Nori from Ace of Diamond, Kawakami.
Yeah.
And I love that voice. And I don't know, I really like his personality. He's upbeat. I love that he got punched in the face by a hawk.
Is he Brazilian? Is that what it is?
Yeah, he's supposed to be. That's what, I think so. That's what they said.
I thought it was something to do with his mouth, teeth or something.
I don't know. It could be. I did read in the comments that said when you find out what his power is, you'll be amazed.
Oh, interesting.
And apparently he's like really strong.
So then there's going to be more.
The manga's still going.
See, I like where this went. Like, I like when Akatsuki met...
her name is Yona.
When Yona met Suwon in the streets. Like, that was
That was a rough scene.
Yeah.
Because all of the emotions flooding through her, everything crashing into her, the love that she still has for him, the betrayal that she felt because of him, the hate that she has for him, all mixed together, and she doesn't know how to feel. Yeah, she wants to kill him, but she's still in love with him. Yeah, he betrayed her, but now he's being so kind to her. Mm-hmm. And I love that she grabs his sword, and then he grabs it too. and he stops her, and that's enough to stop her.
But we know, because we've been watching, that Suwon is the best king that this country's ever had.
Yeah.
We know that. So the only problem right now is that we want Suwon to succeed, and we want Yona to succeed.
But they addressed that. I don't remember which dragon said it. It was green or white, I think. They said if Yona kills Suwon or defeats him,
she can't be the queen.
She will have to succeed the throne, and that's too much responsibility for her.
Well, that's what I liked about the ending of this series, is that there was a lot of questions that I had that they had too. They were like, where do we go from here? Are we going to pretty much be a gang of Robin Hood-like people that just help from the scenes? Well, that's kind of what they were aiming at.
That's what they're going to do. I have a feeling, and this is actually a good idea, is that they go to city, they beat the corruption or whatever, they make the world a better place, and that way Yona will get enough experience, she'll get older, she'll be better at fighting, she'll basically level up, and when she's a high enough level, then they can go take on Suwon. Because they can beat Suwon right now. They have Hawk and they have 4 dragons. That's all you need. But the problem is, afterwards, the country's going to be in shambles. Mm-hmm. Yona needs more experience to know how to run the country. And once they have that, then they can go kill Suwon.
Or they don't need to, and they could do it sort of this way where, like, Yona's group is like the vanguard of the country that's helping everybody, and Suwon's running everything proper. Then they can join forces and fight whoever might come from the outside.
But they would never do that. Well, Hawk would never forgive Suwon. He can never forgive Suwon.
But I think they're slowly finding out that King Eel was not as good as a king as everyone thought he was.
Well, yeah, it's pretty obvious.
He sucked. Like, he was so focused on being peaceful that he let so many people go to ruin.
Well, he let at least one city go to ruin.
But
it's not that many people.
Over and over and over, it looks like things aren't as good as everyone's seen.
I mean, you go to South Syria and...
Yeah.
It's not that great of a place. I really like this anime. I love where it's gone. I love where it's going. I love that we still have some mystery surrounding the Yellow Dragon, and he's supposed to have this really sad backstory, and we're supposed to get really into it, and I really hope we get a season 2. I love the voice acting in the series. I love Yona's voice. I love Hawk. I love the kiss that he gave her at the end. That was beautiful. And I love how everybody knows that you can't talk to him about Suwon. Every time, have you ever noticed, every time I mention Suwon, Hawk's face goes dark. Oh, he must hate him. No, he was a dear friend. Mm. That betrayal is still strong in Hawk's heart. His desire to kill him is strong in Hawk's heart. When you see Hawk standing there crying Yona, he knows what happened. And the look he has on his face is, I want to murder Suwon. And if it wasn't for the fact that he would have to leave Yona to do it, I feel like he would. Because I'm pretty sure Hawk can beat Suwon. Mm-hmm. 99% sure. Hawk's a badass. Anyway, my favorite part of this episode, or the last episode, was the punch that Hawk gave to the gold dragon, and the look of utter betrayal the dragon gave to Hawk. It was just hilarious. Mm-hmm. It was fantastic.
So you're Brazilian, eh? Good punch. And then J-Ho was like, yeah, it actually really hurt, man.
He has the power of a dragon. Yeah. He's crazy.
What do you call it? Like, the dark dragon? Yeah, he's like, I could be a dark dragon. Like, you be the dark dragon. And then Hawk's like, that sounds really freaking cool. Like, when you started finding out they were like deathmatch trees for clerics and stuff, you're like, that sounds freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. He's like, I want to be a dragon. Yeah. It was cool.
Guys, I never told you until now, but I'm actually the yellow dragon.
I'd give Yona an 8.5.
I give Yona a 9. I loved this anime. It was one of 2 anime that I actually didn't watch the last episode of until today because I didn't want it to end. Mm. And when that happens, you know I found something good. Mm. When I don't want this anime to end. It's just fantastic.
Speaking of not watching the last episode or the last 2 or 3 or 4 episodes.
Death Parade! I watched it. You didn't. So, do you wanna explain?
Okay, well, here's my take on Death Parade.
It's a valid take, by the way.
Death Parade was trying way too hard to be way too mysterious when it literally had nothing but dead people coming in and getting judged. Like, that's it. They tried to build the universe around it, but then gave up. They tried to hint at this bigger thing about this arbiter having emotions. Never gave him any, at least as far as I'm concerned. You said they did, but who cares? They tried to make this wonderful, varied cast of characters, focused on 2 of them. It's just, everything about it was like an imploded, beautiful balloon animal that's now a pile of crap. It was like they pumped it so full of stuff that they didn't care about that it popped and exploded and no one cares.
So, the thing with the emotions, and the old man found out he had emotions. Apparently the old man has the ability to suck on people's faces and read their memories
I
that
watched
way.
that one.
Yeah. So he tries to do that to Nona. I think that's her name. Whatever the little girl's name is who runs the place.
The lolly.
Yeah, and he fails because she can backflip like a boss, and she's like, you're not reading my memory, and he's like, there's no point in giving the guy emotions because blah, 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 blah. And she's like, yeah, but yada, 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 and they talk about something that doesn't matter. And then they drop it, which I'm fine with, because they go to what's most interesting, is Deckham's judgment of, I don't remember her name, because her name was given in like the second to last episode.
I don't remember either.
I'm just gonna call her Miyuki, because that's the only name that's in my head right now. So, his judgment of Miyuki, he talks to people, he talks to other arbiters, and he's just not sure what to do. He doesn't know what to do, and she's falling apart. Like, her body is slowly decaying. So, what he does is, she falls asleep, he gains all of her memories. He eats them all up, he has them in his head, and he's alright, I know what I'm gonna do. She wakes up one day, and she goes and looks in her closet, and she has all of her clothes that look the exact same except for one. And it's the costume of a figure skater. So she puts on the figure skating outfit, she has a pair of skates, she walks out to the bar, and now the bar is an ice rink. And she skates. And when she's skating, have you watched Thor 2? The second Thor movie? Do you remember the funeral scene of Thor 2? And then like how that was like all silent, but had this swelling music, and it was all this beautiful? That's what this was. This figure skating scene was like that. There was no dialogue. It just had this swelling, beautiful music, and it had Miyuki just skating. And every time she was skating, she would have a flashback to her childhood, and like it was telling her story like that. And it showed her as a young child, she saw skating, and she was entranced with it, and so she started skating as a kid. And then when she was a teenager, she started going to competitions, and then when she was an adult, she became a professional. And like it was getting better and better, and like she was doing really well. And then she had an accident on the rink where she hit her knee, and her knee was destroyed, so she could never skate again. And then she fell into depression, and she realized the only friends she had was through figure skating. And without that, she didn't have any friends, so she had nobody to talk to. She would barely eat, and then eventually she committed suicide because she was alone. That's how she felt anyway. And it was sad. That entire scene was horrendously sad, to the point where I had tears in my eyes. I didn't full on cry, but I had tears in my eyes just because it was executed so well. And that scene is the best that Death Parade had. And then, so she sits down with Deckham, and Deckham says, I want you to tell me everything about yourself. I want you to tell me everything, because I can't know just from memories alone. And then she tells him everything about her life. She tells him about the friends thing that I just told you about. And she says how her mother was so sad to see her in this depressed state, so she took her own life. And then, so Deckham drugs her, and so she falls asleep. Deckham goes to the bottom floor of the building that they're in, which is where they dispose of all of the dolls when they're done with them. And like I said, at this point she's falling apart, so her knees like exposes the doll, her elbow is, blah, blah, blah. And so suddenly she wakes up, she's in the human world. She's in her house. And Deckham's with her, and she sees her mom, and her mom is like praying incense to her daughter, and her mom's like, I miss you so much. And she tries to reach her mom, but she can't touch her. And her mom doesn't recognize her, and Deckham says, you can't interact with the human world, and he gives her a button, and he says, if you push a button, I will take the life of someone in this world and give you life instead. And he's like, just, if you press it, you'll come back to life at the sacrifice of somebody. She's like, it could be anybody. He's like, anyone on this planet. She's like, it could be my mom. And he's like, it could be, but the chances are astronomically low to be your mother. Or anyone you know. And she's about to do it, but then she can't, and she starts crying, and she throws it at him, and she says, you push it, I want to come back to life, but I can't take someone else's life. And this, like, breaks Deckham, and then Deckham starts crying, and you remember how he had a cross on his eye? That disappears when he shows emotion for some reason. And then the whole world breaks down, turns out it was just a simulation, and he's like, I'm sorry, I had to do this to test you for good, blah, 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 blah. He's like, you passed, or something like that. And then so he puts her in the elevator, and she's crying, and then he feels all sad, and then he says, I'm really, really glad I got to meet you, Miyuki, whatever her name is. And she says, I'm really glad I got to meet you too, Deckham. And then the door closes, and she goes to heaven to be reincarnated, and his cross comes back for some reason. And then, so the old man is monologuing, and he starts saying the rules of the arbiters, and he says an additional rule that was never said before, and it was an arbiter can never have a human partner, because a human can destroy them. So it's implied that having experienced emotions and having been close to a human for so long, he can no longer judge correctly because he's been destroyed. But I don't know. That's what happened. Also, do you remember the girl who was with the idol and then she was still there and we didn't know why? So, Ginta, or whatever his name is, brings the idol's body back, but his soul is still in the underworld because his soul is whatever. And he says, I give you an option. I can bring his soul back, but you have to kill somebody else. He shows a picture of this guy, and he's like, I will send that guy to hell to bring this guy's soul back to you. And you have to choose. The choice is never said to us. We don't know what it is, but she's put in an elevator with him, and they're both sent down to hell. Their bodies literally explode, and then their two souls they're together, and then they descend into hell together. So it's supposed to be like this bittersweet, they're back together, but they're in hell. Or the void or whatever. Death Parade was weird. It had its ups and its downs, and it had that one scene was so good. And I just wish that the rest of Death Parade could live up to that scene. But it doesn't. And that's the sad part. And so I have to give it a 6.5.
I can't rate it because I didn't finish it.
Just rate it. Of what you saw, what'd you think?
6.5. Sounds good. It's an interesting experience. It's one of those psychological ones, but it just seems so shelly. Like there's just like a shell of psychological, and the inside was just so, like that ending doesn't doesn't fit.
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, Death Parade. The two greatest moments of Death Parade were the scene with the cop and the kid, and where he tortures the cop, which is great, and then the figure skating scene. Those are the two highest points of Death Parade, and I just don't. It never continued that. It had great highs, but it had low lows. And it was just too inconsistent. And that's why it gets a 6.5. Okay, so do we want to go to the last one, or do you want me to cover my harem? Because there's only two of the harem.
How fast is your harem going to be covered?
I don't know.
Because we could just rapidly cover it after.
You know what? I don't want to talk about it. It's not worth talking about.
Okay, then let's do it.
Okay. The last anime to talk about is Your Lie in April. Oh my god. So when I said there were two anime that I didn't watch the last episodes of until just like a couple hours ago, Your Lie was one of them. Your Lie is the last final episode I watched. And I told Spencer, I can't bring myself to watch this anime, or the last episode's anime, because I don't want it to end. I want it to keep going. I want more Your Lie.
And it ended.
And oh man. Did it end.
I cried more in this episode than I did in Anohana, which is saying something.
I cried more in Anohana.
From start to finish, I was like, when the song started, that beautiful, beautiful song that was a goodbye letter song to Kaori. It was Kosei going through, it was a grieving song. Like it was his excitement for loving this girl. And then all of a sudden it was the sadness of being forever alone. Never being able to be with your true love. And then when she came in and started playing the violin with him, oh my gosh. And then she disappeared, and then
she exploded.
But she exploded. But I absolutely knew, and I knew it was heavy symbolism, but I knew that there would be no twist, there would be no surprise. She was gone. She was dead.
Did she die in the surgery?
She didn't make it through it, yeah. Isn't that sad?
That's really sad.
She did that surgery just so that she could play with him one last time.
And
she technically did play with him one last time in his memory. In his memory, but the real thing never happened. She died in surgery.
I thought there was a time skip.
There was. A little bit.
Not really, not much, because it was still winter.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm even sadder now. I thought she...
No, she didn't make it through surgery.
Oh, man.
So... I knew on that moment when they were paralleling the surgery and the song, where when she disappeared, I was like, oh no, she's dead. And then he stood up and he's just weeping, right? Like he's just crying on a song and like,
yeah.
So then it skips forward and now she's gone, dead, and everything's kind of going as normal. He's kind of talking with her parents. He's still playing.
Thank you for making our daughter's life colorful. Yeah.
And then he gets a letter that he opens. And
he doesn't open it for a month.
No.
Or for a couple
doesn't
months.
open it for a while, but then he opens it. Oh boy. If I wasn't crying already.
Up until now, I didn't have any tears. I was during the whole song, I was smiling. Even when she was disappearing and the surgery was going on, I still had a smile on my face because it was so beautiful. This animation, they went all out on this performance.
Oh my
Like,
gosh, they did.
Tokyo Ghoul, take notes. This is how you go all out.
I want to watch this.
I
want to watch it again.
It was amazing. The CG was great. The shots of the piano were fantastic. And oh my god, my internet started to stutter, and I was like, no, you don't do this. I am watching this at normal speed. And I paused it, and I was like, I will wait. I will wait for you to buffer, because my god, do I need to see this at normal speed. It was fantastic. It was beautiful. And, you know, I was like, I'm holding it together. Like, I thought I'd be in tears by now, but no, I'm okay. And like, he starts reading the letter, and I was still okay for the most part. Like, the letter was going and was going. I was like, I'm okay. I'm okay. And then she tells her lie. And then she tells her story of how she was always watching and how he was the one. Oh man. And then there were tears, and the tears were flowing.
When she said that her lie in April was that she loves Watari and not him, not only was I floored because I wasn't expecting that, we were like, oh yeah, her lie is that she's sick, ha ha ha. Like, that's what we assumed. We assumed that she was gonna die and that was a lie.
Yeah.
But the fact that she was completely lying about being in love with his best friend in order to get to him, like, she picked the biggest playboy out of the school, who was friends with Kosei, just so that she could be near him.
Yeah.
And her whole story, like you said, you can say it because you say it so well. Like, if the anime was viewed...
Oh, I said that, from the letter, you could see that this could have been a completely different series. From Kaori's perspective, from her perspective, it's about this boy that she could never reach. It's about this love that she tried so hard to get, and that she could never, in the end, attain. And at the very end, even at the end of her life, she couldn't get it.
But I just think it's so incredible that we got to view it from Kosei, who had so much loss in his life. Like, so much loss, and he's really depressed, and then he met this girl who just inflamed his life with color, right? And that she was the reason that brought him out of grayness. His music is now saturated, right? But it was then his saturation that began coloring Kaori's life, right? Like, it was like, so I like the moral behind this anime is that if you want something, you just have to give it your all, and you never know what can change.
Yeah.
You just never know. Sitting back on your haunches and giving up to a disease that you think you have is not a good idea. If you like somebody, even if you have to go about it in a way that's kind of weird, you just have to get out there. You might get rejected. I mean, Kosei, for the longest time until he read this letter, was friend B. Friend A. That's all he thought he was. And then all of a sudden he got this letter, and that... I would feel so much regret, though. Knowing
he did too. The tears.
When she was alive, she loved him, and she could have been with him.
I mean, okay, from our perspective on the outside, it was really obvious that they were in love. But when you're inside, it's a lot harder to see. But that is the saddest part.
But it's so sad.
That's the saddest part, is that they were in love with each other. And they never happened. And it never happened.
And then the cat, and then the railroad, and then... I thought it was really cute. I thought it was really cute when he saw the cat, and then he met back with... I totally blanked her name. What? Tsubaki. And then Tsubaki, like, kind of punched him and says,
that was nice.
I'll always be here for you, or whatever, like, let's do this.
He's gonna end up with her.
Of course. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Because Tsubaki is also a really well-deserving girl. She has her own struggles. She's been trying really hard,
But
too.
how does it feel that you're second place, and the only reason you're with him is because the other one died? That's gotta be a pretty bad feeling.
Yeah, it's rough. But I think it just... Like, when I turned off the TV after that, because I didn't watch anything else after that, I was like... Wow. I haven't been floored emotionally like that in a long time.
It was incredible. And another sad thing, Watari was legitimately in love with her.
Was. And she wrote in the letter, it's like, oh, don't worry about Watari, he's probably going to be okay with all the other girls. And he's like sitting in the music room staring at a picture that they took together on
with
his
a
phone.
slap on his face. Because he was too dumb again.
Right. But I mean...
It doesn't matter if you're, a two-time... I mean, it does. It's
when you meet someone as flamboyant and alive as Kaori,
yeah,
you can't help but be...
She eclipses everybody else.
Exactly. Right? Even if she was putting on a facade...
Facade.
Why do I say facade?
I don't know.
I like the way it looks. It's facade. It actually is facade. But when you put on a facade like that... But, I mean, it's not like she wasn't like that before. She just had to pull it out. Like, she was a glasses, quiet girl.
She threw out all of her inhibitions because she knew her life was coming to an end.
Exactly. Easy.
So it wasn't her. It was just her without any worries.
10 out of 10. Easy.
It was so good.
Easy. You know what? It was an honor reviewing it, Like, it was an honor going through it every week. It was a silly music anime that we didn't hold any expectations for, really.
I hate music anime, but this is just, it's unreal. This is the best series I've seen in a long time.
Of this genre, for sure. And it's a genre, a slice of life, like, that floors you. Really, that's not... Yeah, doesn't happen that often.
Unbelievable.
The last one was a key anime, probably. Like, there's usually something to complain about, but quite honestly, the animation was always good. The music was always great.
Yeah.
But you don't like classical music,
I don't like classical music.
But, like, the music was always great. The performances were always so hyped. They always did such a good job. There was a good romantic bend to it, but it wasn't too heavy. It was funny. But it speaks to childhood and growing up and decisions and love, and it's just... Yeah. It was a really good way to end. But we'll talk about that later. Okay, so let's go on to the...
In case it wasn't clear, I also give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
That was
perfect. It was...
amazing.
It sits atop my anime list with Full Metal Alchemist and Gurren Lagann, and it's very proud to be there. Quite honestly.
It's a lot lower on mine, but...
Well, you have lots of good ones? Do you have lots of good ones?
I think so. Well, the only... This is like... Okay, I have 3 10 out of 10s. I mean, I gave Barakamon a 10 out of 10, but that's within its own...
That was so good.
Slice of lifey genre. That's not, like,
that was
overall.
so good. That was a good season of anime.
But Your Lie, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and Sakurasu are the 3 anime that... and Gurren Lagann are the 4 anime I give 10 out of 10 as anime out of their own genres.
What about Code Geass?
It's like an 8.
Yeah.
Code Geass is great.
But not perfect.
Not perfect.
So.
Okay, so it's time for our 3rd JNB Anime Awards. And man, you will be surprised at what we have. Alright, so let's start from the top. Would you like to read it for me?
Sure. Okay, so the first award for Biggest Dumbass goes to...
the one who actually created the category, Slain Troyard.
Slain wins this award for being completely stupid. He was unable to foresee his own doom, 2-timed multiple princesses, had so many butt buddies it was ridiculous, and he ended up being confused at Inaho's grace, even though Inaho didn't even care about him.
Yeah, Slain, you're just a fool. The one thing you wanted was the princess to be happy, and you wanted to be with the princess, and the only way, and the easiest way for you to do that is to not be an asshole and do what she wants, which is get peace. But no, you're like, I want the earth. I want to make my own world. And that's why you're the biggest dumbest of the season.
Best anime of the season. This one will shock you.
Your Lie in April. Who would have thought? The anime that made us cry, the anime that made us laugh, the anime that made our hearts glow with warmth, and the anime that made us smile the widest is Your Lie in April. It is the best. By far, it had the best ending. It had just the best everything.
I think a runner-up for this one would definitely be Seven Deadly Sins. That one came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah.
And it was a very good shonen battle adventure series that just cleansed my palate. It was good. Necessary. Worst anime of the season goes to...
Can Cole. Now, what is this anime, you might be asking? It's the one where all the girls are ships. I mean, that's it. The anime has like 5 voice actresses in it, and it's just not great. And you're like, you didn't get far enough. No. Excuse me, I keep burping. No, I got far enough. I got to the point where some of the girls started dying. Still wasn't interesting. You can kill off an entire cast of characters, but if I don't care about any of them, it doesn't make a difference.
Runners-up are the lame food anime and... Well, the lame food anime. The one where the girl was just like super in love with food and like made it really sexual.
And for me, the one with the Power Rangers like anime that you watched longer than I did, where they wore masks and were villains. And
that one?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Dropped that one too. Don't remember what it's called.
I don't remember either. Oh man.
So the next one would be Best Male Character, and that goes to
Meliodas. And so Meliodas is the best character, not because he's the best written. But okay, it's a combination of 2 things. One, we were very stark in terms of characters. We didn't have that. Like, I mean, Inaho doesn't have a personality. Shiroi didn't do much this season. Kaneki did nothing this season. Wow. So just by default, he is already one of the better ones this season. But also just Meliodas is a complete badass. Take notes, Inaho, this is how you do badass well. He has clear weaknesses. He loses battles. Okay? And he actually shows emotion, which is nice. It's nice in the
But
character.
he's so confident and he's so likable. That's what we like about him.
He is so likable.
Runner-up would be Hawk, because Hawk is awesome in every regard, but Meliodas is just that much more likable. Hawk's more broody, you know?
Hawk also has the thing where he fights his own desires for love, which deepen his character a bit more, where Meliodas is just like, I'm gonna grow up Elizabeth.
He's got his own thing, though, deep inside, too. Like, is he a demon? Is he not?
I think he's
Did he kill his girlfriend?
Pretty sure he's half and half.
Find out next season.
I really hope we get season 2.
So, next is Best Female Character, which goes to...
Oh, you're gonna be surprised by this? Cowrie! I mean, she is the best. She went through a horrible disease.
She is an inspirational, well-drawn, well-written, well-acted character. And, yes indeed, good sir on Reddit, she did get desaturated throughout the anime. Thanks for noticing. And thanks for asking,
Shout
by
out
the way.
to that guy.
Yeah, shout out to that guy. Now let me tell you this. There are subtleties like that make anime awesome, and it is one of those things. Kaori was dying. And it didn't tell you straight out. Never actually did tell you straight out until the very end, but wow, good character.
It went from subtle it went from really subtle, where like you really had to pay attention to pick up on it. Then it became a little bit more obvious with the pills and the washroom, and then it became really obvious
With like the seizures and stuff.
with the seizures, and then surgery, and yeah.
Death by surgery. Worst male character goes to...
Oh, Forehead Kun, also known as Mikado Ryugamine. Durarara.
It is because he has the least amount of backbone, and we are just a fan of like hardcore male characters, and he has yet to show his hardcore side, and stabbing a guy with a pen just means you're insane.
So unlike Inaho, he does have personality, but his personality pisses me off, and that's why he's the worst character than Inaho.
Worst female character goes to...
Toka from Tokyo Ghoul Route A. And I want to specify it's Route A Toka. And the reason she's the worst character isn't because she's badly written. No. It's because she did nothing. She picked up a teacup. That's all she did this entire season. She's had no other purpose.
Yeah, she's completely useless.
You could cut her out from this season and nothing of value would have been lost.
It's true. Because even Kaneki went back to save Anteku, not Toka.
Yeah, and I like Toka, and they just completely misused her here.
Best soundtrack goes to...
The One Music Anime, Your Lie in April.
Yeah.
If it didn't get best soundtrack, it'd be pretty bad.
I mean, some were pretty good. Like, I liked the oriental tones of Akatsuki no Yona.
It took me to the very last episode. I finally liked the new opening.
It got me so psyched every time.
It got me pretty pumped.
Anyways, like, the oriental tones were great for that one. I really liked the epic music of Seven Deadly Sins, but it was the music anime itself.
Seven Deadly Sins had the perfect adventure music.
Yeah, it did.
Like, I felt like it'd be in a video game.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Best art goes to...
Your Lie in April. Great character art. If we had a runner-up for this, it would be Akatsuki no Yona.
Yeah.
Yona's art was also just fantastic, and it was vibrant. But the two had a lot of similarities, where they both had very vibrant, bright colors. But Your Lie made use of them better, because Your Lie also switched to dark really often.
I would also... My runner-up would be Durarara. I really like that art style. I like the way it looks, and I like how the characters pop and are interesting.
I don't.
Best animation goes to...
Sorry, burped. Where are we? Oh, there's Your Lie in April.
Just say Your Lie in April, man. Like, it's probably the right answer, statistically.
Spoilers. So Your Lie had, prior to the last episode, it probably would have gone to something else. But wow, they went all out in the final episode. Oh my goodness,
and it just
scene.
peaked a very beautiful anime already into greatness.
If you watch the final performance and you don't think that it deserves this award, you are...
If you didn't even watch
mistaken.
Your Lie in April, watch the last episode at the beginning, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, it's so good, what am I doing?
The hell?
I don't know. Okay, worst CGI. We were struggling. There
wasn't that much bad CG.
Well, we made bad CGI basically because there was an episode of an anime or an anime that was bad CG. So we threw out...
Kosei's hands were bad sometimes.
Yeah, they were bad sometimes. So we gave it to Log Horizon because some of those monsters are just plain bad. Like the Wyvern attack on the city and those like minion monsters that come out of the water.
I just thank God that to this day we haven't reached the pinnacle of bad that Black Bullet did. Lest we ever forget Aldebaran.
Oh my god.
Lest we ever forget.
Oh my. Why would you do that? Let's put Shuckle in a, let's put Shuckle in an anime that's super sucked in general, but that's...
Here's my Aldebaran impression. Oh.
Oh. Oh, look, it's the scary monster. Let's shoot it with all our weapons and oh. I feel bad for the thing. Okay, best gorilla moment. Now, this is something that we are super proud of because we coined this after the first podcast we ever did, and it's a throwback to Samurai Flamenco, which we won't, if you haven't seen Samurai Flamenco, I recommend you watching it, but you'll know exactly what the gorilla moment is when you go there.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a shocking revelation or moment that that is not just like one of those classic plot twists in anime. It's something that makes you go, what the heck? Like, spoiler, in, what is that anime called that we really liked? Oh yeah, Coffin Princess. Chaika. Where Black Chaika giving birth back, to her dad, and the spine ripping. Oh my, what the, like that was next level, oh my gosh moments, okay? So we didn't really have something like that, but it was more of a gorilla moment, 2-part gorilla moment.
Yeah, so the death and resurrection of Migi and Parasyte the Maxim, that was our gorilla moment, because nobody saw the death coming, and nobody saw the revival coming. Like, we had the stump, and sure, Migi might have grown back from the stump, that's what I think most people were thinking, but for Migi to rip himself out of Goto's body and to return to Shinichi was something that nobody could see coming. It was so good. And it was fantastic.
So good. And it was such a crazy drawn sequence. It was so cool. And it made me so epic and so pumped. But the runner-up for this, in my opinion, was Hawk from Seven Deadly Sins dying and then popping out as Mini Hawk. And no one getting any explanation as to why this happened or how this happened.
Well, they said, Hawk, how'd you do that?
He pulled a Frederica, man. Like, he went straight Frederica.
Yeah, he did.
Best Tomada of the season. And if you don't remember, Tomada is from, Sakura, no. That's a girl. That's the name of the girl. Oh, Nozaki-kun.
There you go. Okay. Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun.
Yeah, Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. And Tomada was this wonderful one-shot episode where they got addicted to playing through Galgaze or whatever. Is that what it's called? And there was this... They just focused entirely on this one character who's like the best friend character who helps the main character out so much that he'll sacrifice his own high school youth to make sure the main character gets the love of his life. So it's that selfless best friend.
Yeah.
And so even though he sort of, we got a reflective moment from him at the end, it was the sequence of events leading up to it that gave
Watari this award. If it wasn't for him, Kosei would have never gone out of his depression over Kaori's disease. He would have never been able to do that giant performance at the end, and he would have never gone back to her. Mm-hmm. So Watari, even though he knows that Kosei's in love with her, he's the one who called him out on it, and he knows that he's in love with her too. But it's never a competition. He says she will choose. He never says we're fighting for this girl. One of us will get her. He says no. You have to try your best for this girl. You have to. And that's why he's the best Tomada.
Best individual episode goes to the final episode of
Your Lie in April. Unbelievable.
Oh my! From start to finish, I was at the end of my seat. There was not a dry space on my bearded cheek. I even tweeted about it, actually.
He did. Yeah.
I was just blown away. I was floored. I was emotional. It was beautiful. It's still so vivid in my memory. It's just such a good episode. And subsequently,
best individual scene is the final performance in Your Lie in April.
Mm-hmm. That musical scene where it was drawing so many parallels to everything that Kosei and Kaori had been working towards, and then that final moment where she dies, knowing that she just died in surgery, and he knew it. He just knew it when he was playing his song, and the way the music ebbed and flowed with his emotions. Oh my gosh.
And our awards MVP for this season is Your Lie in April.
I cannot praise this anime enough. If you want to get into anime, if you want to recommend anime, it is a child-friendly, but adult-worthy. It is anime, reviewer plus 10 mega bonus to stats and charisma. It is wonderful. It is a good anime that I would 100% recommend.
Yeah. It is, it's just fantastic. Oh my god. From beginning to end, this anime has been nothing but a pleasure. And big props to the creators for this. Great writing, great animation, great music, great everything. It didn't have a single weak point.
But you know what? I think the worst part about Your Lie in April is that it had to end. I think. But everything has to end eventually.
Oh my god, that segue, Spencer. That was good. High five. That's not a high five. That's the back of your hand. All right. So all right.
Yeah. You may have noticed at the beginning, of the podcast. I don't know if any of you picked up on it, but our longtime listeners may have noticed that Raj introduced the podcast a little differently than he normally did.
I always say, and always with me is my co-host Spencer.
And yet, instead of getting offended, I said nothing. Because after this podcast, I am retiring as co-host to J and B. I'm actually getting kind of sad. Actually, it's emotional. We've been doing this for over a year now. It's actually just over our year anniversary, I think. It was in February, I think?
No,
March?
End of March.
End of March. So we're just over a year anniversary. We've been faithfully, minus a couple weeks, putting out podcast after podcast every week. We've been reviewing movies. We've been doing double releases. We've been doing hour to 2 hour long content reviews for you. And I felt like I was saying before, my life has gotten really busy. I'm newly married. I'm newly full-time work now. And it's getting very hard for me to find a 2 hour to 3 hour sequence. See, it's not the podcast length that's the problem. I will gladly, we're almost doing a 3 hour or 2 hour podcast again. I can talk for 2 hours. That's not a big deal. It's the problem is getting enough time in my life to not only sit down and watch all the anime that I want to watch, but enjoy it, come up with thoughtful thoughts to say, and remember it. It's hard. It's a lot of stuff. Like, the amount of, to make your time worth it to listen to our podcast, we have to review a lot of stuff. We also have to review stuff that I'm sometimes not comfortable watching, but I do it anyways. And we also have to do a lot of content, and that's a lot of stuff for me to do. And I was getting burnt out, and I was hating anime. And that's sad for me. You and me started this podcast a year ago, a little over a year ago, because we were sitting down and chatting about anime and annoying people in our lives. Because we would sit down and we would go off about anime and compare it to this and compare it to that. And we looked at each other and said, we talk a lot about anime. And you were like, why don't we just record ourselves talking about it and put it online? We had no idea what we were doing. So we released Samurai Flamenco, our first ever podcast where two incredibly awkward university students talked for probably an hour and a half about Samurai Flamenco, the entire season. Then we released the notorious Log Horizon podcast.
Oh boy.
Which we reviewed in depth. Log Horizon, to the clippity-clap of my internal speaker of my microphone because I failed at plugging in the proper microphone. Then we discovered my GarageBand mic, and or Guitar Hero mic, and we've never been the same. We went from one-shot anime review series to just starting off on a season and doing full recaps, and here we are now. 3 J&B AAs later.
So, if you want to know what my say in this is, I would much rather not have Spencer go at all. But the thing is, the reason we never did any series reviews, even though we were supposed to, is because Spencer wouldn't watch them. And he wouldn't watch them because he was burnt out and busy and a combination of everything, and he wouldn't enjoy it. And he said, well, you can just do it alone. And that was the only thing you said that actually made me angry, is when you said for me to do it on my own. I got really mad, but then I got so over angry that it disappeared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I became an uncaring person, and that happened for like a week.
When you became uncaring, that's when we were in the moment when you were busy with university and we decided to hiatus for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We were having a rough time. We almost had a couple really big fights about this, which was getting frustrating because our friendship is more important than this podcast.
And here's the thing. I don't want Spencer to be unhappy. And if the podcast is causing stress and is making him unhappy, I would rather him not do it.
The sad part is every Friday or Saturday that we were about to record, I dreaded it. Because usually podcasts occur on my day off. And I look forward to my days off. They come very far and few between. I work 6 days a week and I have 1 day off. And it would spend 3 hours, usually actually about 6 hours, because I'd be trying to catch up on anime in the morning, podcast, post-production. It would all happen. Then Janelle would come home and I'd be super busy, and all my time to sit down and usually enjoy anime would be used rushing into getting anime done, and I wasn't getting paid for it. I'm not saying I'd do this if I was getting paid, don't get me wrong. And I'm not saying we didn't get enough viewers. I'm not saying we didn't get enough feedback. I'm saying that this was a decision I made because I am just very busy, burnt out, and I just don't have time to do a weekly, monthly, yearly podcast. Only because of the content.
A yearly podcast would be awful.
Yeah, it would. But man, the hype.
So I'm assuming that you guys are wondering, well, what's the future of JMB? I don't want to do this alone. A one-person podcast isn't very interesting.
What are you going to call it?
I don't know. I haven't thought of it yet.
Because the Brown podcast would be so racist.
But at the same time, I don't want to let this go because I love podcasting. I'm not burnt out on it like Spencer is. And I look forward to it every time we do it, and I enjoy it.
I enjoy it when I'm doing it. Don't get me wrong. I really like this recording. Even after so long, I liked it because I didn't have to do any prep for it. So, yeah.
And so, I mean, the short answer is I don't know. The long answer is I want to keep it going, but I need to find a co-host to do it, and we need to work things out. Because even if I do find a co-host, will we mesh well? Blah, 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 blah. It's a bunch of these, bunch of questions. So, fortunately, the podcast, until further notice, is going to have to go on a, what do you call it? Infinite hiatus or whatever? Indefinite hiatus until it can be sorted out. I have been invited to become the host of other podcasts. There's an esports podcast that has invited me. I haven't given them an answer yet. If I do that podcast, most likely J&B will die. But to be perfectly honest, I would prefer podcasting about anime over esports, even though I do have a passion for both. And so it's all up in the air at this point. I am done school, so I have the time for podcasts, which is great. I'm not married like Spencer is, so I don't have any commitments in that regard. So it's all in a matter of time, honestly. I have to figure out how I'm going to do this. So unfortunately, J&B is going to have to go on indefinite hiatus, and this may be the final episode of this podcast.
And so we'll probably end this episode assuming that is the end. And yeah, life will go on as usual. Like, the other day was kind of awkward because I was excitingly talking to Raj about spring season, and I was talking about anime that I watched, and you kind of looked at me weird, and I'm like, what? Like, just because I'm quitting the podcast doesn't mean that I'm quitting anime. I love anime. Anime is my television. I don't care about new seasons of Orange is the New Black or CSI Miami. I don't care. I care about seasons that are coming out, like the new Bone season, or the Digimon season coming out in May, or the food battle season that's coming out that I want to watch. That's supposed to be good, right? I'm excited about that. I just don't have the time to watch everything and have people assume that I have to do it consistently every week. Sometimes I want to not watch something for 3 weeks and then get back to it and enjoy marathoning it. It's just, I need to have that flexibility, and you can't have that flexibility. You need the consistency of a partner who's willing to do it consistently all the time. And I'm sorry that I can't give that to you. It's sad. I really like.
It is sad.
I think our friendship has grown really, really, really close this past year because of this podcast. But it's not saying that we won't hang out more than once a week. Because, yeah,
we still see each other every week. It's this podcast. The podcast ending does not have an effect on our friendship
because we haven't done it for a week and we're still close friends. So
I haven't done it for a month.
A month. Time flies, man.
Am I your only friend to talk to about anime?
Yes.
I thought as much.
Levi sort of, but he doesn't watch much. And he's so far behind me that I can't. He doesn't watch anything new. He always backlogs, like watches all the stuff that's finished. He'll never watch anything unless it's done. So I can't hype about awesome Parasyte episodes or Attack on Titan Weekly or Ace of Diamond or all this stuff. So, wow.
I don't know what to say.
Me neither.
This is the end.
Yeah.
I feel sad.
Yeah, I actually, when you didn't say, as my co-host always, Spencer, I felt like the man wells, not the Mexican guy, like the man well, like like where the tears start like welling up, and you're like, no, I can't. I know it's me ending it, but it's like, shoot, son, like this has been a big part of my life.
I mean, it is you ending it. Let's not be.
I'm not sugarcoating it. But I'm gonna be happy tomorrow that I made this decision. And even though I'm making it look like it's not hard, it's pretty hard. Like it's not easy.
I do have an idea for something that I want to talk to you about. We'll talk about it after this because I'm making no podcast promises on the final podcast. Mm-hmm. But we'll see.
If people need to listen to this as like a cathartic ending to our whole 51-ish, 52-ish, how many?
This is 42.
42. Of our 42 different podcasts, if they want to listen to this one and let it be an end, it'll be an end. This will be the one that they remember as the one that was the end, the last one. And I think because of that, we should end it off in a way that we always end it.
I want to end it off on this note. From the very beginning, I had one major goal with this podcast, and it's the reason every episode starts with a 0. And it's because I wanted to get this podcast to episode 100. And even though this is the end of the podcast, it's not the end of that dream. I'm going to get this podcast episode 100 one way or another. Eventually.
And who knows? Who knows? Depending on how life works out, if I can eventually move away from weekly family dinners, or I can eventually move away from this, I would not be against, because I love podcasting. I can do it. I like it. I like anime. Those two usually go together. I might join you, and we might be doing the 100th podcast together. But as of right now, it is impossible, and I need to permanently rescind my hostship from this podcast.
Shake my hand, man.
It's been fun, man.
It's been a pleasure. I couldn't ask for a better co-host.
Thanks.
I'm Roger James Brown.
And I was Spencer James and Brown.
I don't know when we'll see you again, but it will happen.
And if we do, we'll be glad for your listens, your likes, your emails, and your comments.
Thank you so much for all your support up until now.
Enjoy the spring season, enjoy the spring weather, and may your beards grow long.
That's it.
Yeah. Goodbye.